Usually getting a phone for $0 is too good to be true. A hassle, but not at Verizon. Now, when you make the switch to Verizon, America's best network, you can get the new Samsung Galaxy S26 Plus for $0. No drama, no hassles, no trade.
It's tax refund season, and Bob's is bringing the wow back. Get wow-worthy prices on best-selling pieces like my...
Hey, it's 6:01 in the region. You guys cool? Can I go ahead and start doing a radio show? You guys okay with that?
If this is what you call a radio show.
I call it something. Turn me down just a little bit, Lynette. Thank you. Let's take a first look at traffic and weather. Unless Jed would like to come do traffic and weather.
Dude.
He has no idea. What? You guys suck. I know, right? Okay, so taking a look, your first look at traffic and weather here on a Monday morning. Things are looking good here in the region. Not much to report. 80, 94, 65, Skyway Toll Road, everything looking good. If you're heading on into the city, so far things looking good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, usual slowdown downtown. Other than that, things looking good. If you're heading out to the airports, be aware there was an earlier incident at LaGuardia Airport involving an Air Canada flight striking a fire truck. And that went about as well as you expect. That has flights out east canceled and delayed. So if you are heading out to the airports this morning to fly out east, specifically to the New York area, check your flights, make sure you're still heading there. LaGuardia has a full ground stop. So if you know anybody heading out that way today, tell them they are not going today. Lynette, how is the weather?
Hey, the weather is really cold out. Here she is. She's going to give you the weather.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 30 degrees with highs of 39 and lows of 29. It's going to be mostly sunny and cold, and then later tonight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 53 and lows of 40 with periods of clouds and sun. And then Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 68 and lows of 50. Should be warmer with intervals of clouds and sun.
Thank you so much.
Someone said his name 3 times.
I didn't. I saw him. He got here before me, and I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those days. Because here's the thing. As much as he says, hey, I'm going to step back, I'm going to not be here so much, he's here. Which is he's just here.
Hey, I just wanted to say hi to you guys and how much I enjoy when I'm on vacation, being able to listen and watch you guys. I do want to say 2 things. I did go through TSA twice, and I just want to give a huge you got to turn me down a little bit?
A little bit.
All right.
Red is bad, yeah.
I went through TSA twice, and we have TSA pre. We got it one time we were going to Italy, and I will say that you have about 2% of the weight if you have pre. Now, Bob, do you have pre?
No.
Oh, you're in trouble, bud.
Well, so, yeah, we're going out of Midway, and I heard Midway's okay, but I hear Orlando is just a total disaster.
Orlando and Fort Lauderdale, where we came back out of yesterday, was just unbelievable. I mean, when they're talking about the lines going out the door, they went back and forth like Disney World lines.
Yeah.
And then it went out the door and across the street and into the parking garage. And there were people all the flights were leaving late because they knew there were like 5 or 10 people for every flight that had not made it through PSA. And then you hear people yelling in PSA, can I please go forward? Can I please go forward? It is complete chaos. TSA, 2 minutes tops. Clear was much longer. I don't know why. Clear is supposed to be shorter. But I don't know. I guess ICE is going to go there tomorrow, and they're going to start moving it along. But I just don't see any solution to it other than Fort Lauderdale was a 2-hour and 40-minute wait. So there were all sorts of people missing flights. There was a standby list from Fort Lauderdale to Chicago for a 7 o'clock Sunday morning flight of about 10 people. They all got on because of TSA. So I don't know what, I mean, firsthand account there. How you doing, Chuck?
You know how far out of the loop I am? I don't even have my star yet. So for our
he can't fly.
I wanted to drive to our project coming up in a few weeks. Bob said, "No, we've got to fly." Because I
believe I said I'm flying.
You're
you
flying.
Do what you want.
I was gonna drive.
Are you guys still going to NAB on my dime or no?
Yeah, we already.
Yeah.
I got an invoice for you.
Yeah,
and I'm
me
sure
too.
you do.
Me too.
I got to tell you, just to clear it all up, Bob and Chuck are going to go to NAB along with Ben Coert. That is the least I could do for you guys. And the number one thing is that I'm all about innovation. I don't want to spend any money until you guys go to NAB and tell us what to spend on. Because these guys all want new cameras and they want all this. And I'm like, no, I think there's other ways that are robotic and AI operated that we should be spending our money on. And you're going to figure out where that is.
I just got a text. It says, "You guys know you're on the air, right?" I go, yeah, no, we know. We're good. So Jim knows he's on the air, right? Yes, he knows we're live.
All right, before I go and work out, what is the lemon pound cake about in front of you?
So for those of you listening and not watching on WJOB, there is a lemon pound cake here on the desk. I'm gonna unveil
Display it.
I'm gonna unveil it.
Present yourself.
Look, I'll just say this is our first time making lemon pound cake, so it's.
No judging.
But it smells fantastic. So there's a lemon pound cake. It's here in the studio. And Jed says to me, whose birthday is it? I go, it's a lemon pound cake, Jed. He goes, well, what? I go, it's a lemon pound cake, Jed. He goes, what? I go, it's a lemon pound cake, Jed. I said, do you follow the news, Jed? He said, no, I don't follow the news. And there's literally a meme about him. If you could pull it, I don't know if you could pull it up maybe on MX Cartoons. There's literally a Jed lemon pound cake meme right now, and Jed has no idea what it's about.
All right, explain, please.
You'll have to tune in at 7 o'clock.
Is that when Micah Beckwith comes on?
LT, as I call him, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, will be joining us at 7 o'clock today to talk about, the latest in social media controversies that he got himself in. But are you able to put that up? As we set up to do that yet?
You don't have it yet, do you, Lynette? It's on my phone, and I think I left my phone in the car with the car running so I could go work out at the Y.
Okay, so he's working on it. But
yeah.
So lemon pound cake, Jed.
Yeah, what's it mean?
You have to tune in at 7 o'clock. I would play the song, but I think we'd get an FCC violation. Actually, you know what? I think we could play that song, but we won't.
Can I address one other thing before I go and throw around weights at the nicest?
You throw around weights at yoga?
No, I'm not. I don't.
That's why they kicked him out of Planet Fitness, I think.
He's just lobbing them across the room. A bunch of 2.5-pounders taking flight.
I haven't paid for your guys' trip to NAB yet, so why don't you relax, okay? One of the saddest things, and maybe, Lynette, this will affect us, CBS News it's gone away as of...
clarify CBS News Radio.
CBS News Radio.
So CBS News Radio, which feeds hundreds of small markets. Here you go, Jim. There you go.
What does that mean?
It's a lemon pound cake, Jim.
I can't read it. His head's in the way. What's it say? Afro Man Jed missing what?
Missing from WJOB.
Make him wait. Make him wait.
Afro Man Jed missing from WJOB. I don't know what that means.
I think the worst part about this is that Chuck now realizes we have the ability to throw this stuff up in real time.
Well, that's because you have Lynette. Lynette, by the way, I don't know what happened, where you came from. You are like the best producer. I mean, you guys are lucky, by the way.
We know this.
Yeah,
we
know this. CBS, I saw Rick Federici put it up. They were using WIMS, and we were thinking of bringing CBS News Radio this way, and they went away. So if anybody is in the radio business, we would love to get a top of the hour news, and CBS has always been the best one. But Ellison bought it and said, I don't care about radio anymore, so that's it. Do you have any solutions, Chuck?
Jed Radio, Jed News Radio Network.
I thought about that. Think about how many hundreds, thousands of radio stations that are going to be looking for that. We are in that position that we want top of the hour news, and now CBS has gone away. I don't know if there's other services. The cow guy's involved with that farm service that goes every top of the hour, but
we could do farm reports.
But it's farm reports. All right, so what do you think that
Well, you see the soybean.
It says they're affecting Orion Samuelson, who actually did the soybean report, passed away last week. He was well known in Chicago.
I was on his show before.
Yeah, no, he passed away he was in his 90s, I believe, right?
Yeah, he was at the Board of Trade, and he would walk around, and he knew everybody. I wasn't a grain guy, but every once in a while he would take somebody from the financial instruments, and I would go up there, and it was kind of cool. That's how Cow Guy got his start, too, by the way.
So CBS News Radio has 700 affiliates, was nearly 100 years old when they announced they'd be shutting down. But again, for instance, News Radio in New York shut down at the beginning of the year. There's questions now about what's going to happen to WBBM in Chicago. And that sort of becomes another one of those millennials killed the news radio, because what were people tuning in for? For like traffic and weather on the 8s, which you can get instantly now, especially with, the AI models and things like that you're working on. So this idea of sticking around for 10 minutes to listen to the traffic when your car just does it for you, why were people listening?
3 weeks ago, you saw that for the very first time in history, more people listened to podcasts in a month than to radio.
How does that make you feel, Jed?
It makes me feel great.
Why?
Well, because we're starting the best podcast network
because
in the nation.
We're like overwhelmed with, how many people want podcasts right now we have to turn away?
Right.
And it's the same thing with the streaming video. Oh, Jed, how do you feel about streaming video taking over radio sports? Well, why don't we go do streaming video? And now look where we're at with the Heartland Sports Network. They did, and I want to give kudos to the Heartland Sports Network team. They were hired by the state of Indiana to do the semi-state, which Crown Point just barreled through out of Elkhart, and they did an amazing job on streaming that. That's an opportunity. Is when the market changes, you send your best guys to NAB, and they come back and they tell you what we should do next. Isn't that a good business model?
So who could you have imagined years ago that WJOB would outlast CBS News Radio? Do you know what I mean? Like the idea that we innovated and they didn't.
Well, I think that the model, as you well know, Starkey, and all of you guys, the model is that you can take radio. Radio still hits 93% of homes in a week, of listeners, of people in America in a week, 93%. But the problem is that it has stagnated revenue-wise. It hasn't gone away like newspapers. It still is very strong. But what the strongest people have done is they have pivoted off of existing clientele. And that's what we did with the streaming videos. We had, we got a bunch of sports. Sam, what do you think we should do? Well, why don't we start streaming it? And we started streaming it. You were there, Chuck, and you are not a sports person. But you said, you know what, Jed, you might have something here. And we went over to Facebook Live, and then it turned into a streaming sports network that goes across the state of Indiana. And the same thing will happen with podcasts. We have way too many, and Lynette's got to stick around today to do a bunch of podcasts. And that is a huge growth opportunity. But you can't just step into podcast network. You have to have something to build off of, and you build off of WJOB radio into podcast. Ellison, if he wanted to, he could have taken CBS Radio News, made it into a podcast-oriented, a 1-minute podcast every 20 minutes, a new one would post, and he would have had millions of listeners. He wanted out of that.
Right.
He didn't want to be in that, and there's a political reason behind it also.
So it's Trump's fault.
I didn't. Nobody said it was
I'm
Trump.
just making sure. But I mean, again, even now you've got the discussions about mergers among the Hollywood studios and things like that. I mean, you're going to have this. It's sort of a weird thing because you have the big players are trying to conglomerate. We just had a big merger among television stations that was announced last week as well. That's gonna, I'm going to see how that's going to affect us when I get into work today. So you've got this, a lot of those traditional FCC rules about duopolies and how much market share one group can have. A lot of that has got thrown out the window, which can both be a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, again, if you're talking about the survival of a medium, this might be the only way for them to do it.
But following that, and Starkey, you should I know that you have a deep I don't know where Starkey came from, but he's got a
same place Lynette came from, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know where these people showed up. I mean, I know where you came from. You crawled out of a hole one day like 20 years ago, and we've been, you're one of my longest friends for and I know I'm your longest friend, which is using that term loosely.
I said you were my longest relationship.
But look where that is going in terms of the media, right? It is going to podcasts. I must have listened to 50 podcasts while I was on vacation, all different sorts of them. That is, I mean, we're set up here. We got 5 radio studios that are perfect for podcast studios. And I told Adriana, no more podcasts until we get this. And that goes for you too, Lynette, okay? No more podcasts. We can't take anymore. But it's okay that it's going that direction. The problem is, Chuck, is that when I was gone, Trump and the Trump administration said they might take away broadcasting licenses from people they feel aren't being fair, right? Now, what I have said to you guys from the beginning is that radio is regulated unlike on the internet. So we have to go to the internet because who knows what's going to happen one day. Someone could come in and say, all right, well, we'll shut you down because you said something. Micah Beckwith's going to be on today, right?
Yep, 7 o'clock.
Micah Beckwith is the most controversial person in Indiana right now, right?
How dare you? He's second.
Behind who?
Behind me.
No. He is the most now, if you agree with Micah Beckwith, you're all in and you're like, but someone could be in charge of the government and say, hey, you had Micah Beckwith on and you've had him on a number of times and you were friendly to him, and that means that you're bad people and we're going to take your license away. That's where we're at in media, so you have to pivot. B5, honestly, might help us in that the podcast, and all right, we'll just throw out all these podcasts. Right now, you could go to Apple or Spotify, and you could listen to any number of podcasts that are fresh and are good, including I'll do tomorrow. I'll do Mastering Local Marketing, and I'll do the Cow Guys podcast. Eventually, your guys' is a podcast. It'll be posted. Lynette's an amazing producer. She'll have it up by noon. You'll be able to listen to all of this, right? So we are at a huge disadvantage having to be licensed by the federal government. And you know that, Chuck. We've talked about it a million times. But what is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
It is 6:20 in the region. We do have to take a break, and Jim has to go get to the gym so we can reset.
You never explained what a lemon pound cake is here for.
You'll have to tune in at 7 o'clock.
You think I'm gonna I'm gonna get out of the pool?
Yes. It's called a tease. I'm leaving the pound cake on the table as a tease. And people are going to tune in and go, why is there a lemon pound cake on the table? And they're going to stick around to find out why. Even if it's the very last 2 minutes of the show today, people are going to stick around to find out why there's a lemon pound cake on this table.
Lynette, we were worried about pairing you with Chuck Pullen and how that was going to go. I am so sorry that you have to put up with him.
Look, this is her second favorite show.
This is her second favorite show. I mean, we're not T-dabs over here, but we're doing pretty good. Okay?
T-dabs? God. You know what? I got to go because you guys are I don't know what it is, but thank you. Thanks, everybody. I want to say I was on vacation. I will be the host tomorrow. Verley is not going to be here tomorrow. So it's
great.
my
They're tuning
show.
out of our show now.
Yeah, they're getting – you know what? The numbers are going down as we speak because they know I'm going to be on tomorrow. So I'll see you guys. Thanks.
Okay, with that, why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be back with your phone calls here on a Monday morning on the voice and vase of the region.
The better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Summer's coming, and Deep River Water Park is taking applications for all positions. We have jobs both inside and out for all ages that offer great benefits. Free admission on your day off for you and a friend. Free uniforms, paid training, make new friends, flexible scheduling, and more. To apply, just go to deepriverwaterpark.com and you're on your way to a summer of rewarding fun.
Deep River Water Park. It's simply splash-tastic.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, powers health.
6:22 in the region. Everybody just left. They're just like, we're out. So that's fine. It's a Monday morning here on WJOB. Do you want me to do so? How do we do then traffic and weather if we're doing 20-minute segments? Explain that one to me. He's not listening. Now, am I doing traffic and weather every segment then? Yes, okay. Every 8 minutes, traffic on the 8s. Okay. So let's take a look at traffic and weather before we take your phone calls. So traffic, everything's still moving along well here in Indiana. Not much to report. 8094, Skyway Toll Road, I-65, everything looking good. Everything looking good on the Illinois side. Just a little building traffic, Dan Ryan on into downtown. Bishop Ford looking good. 294 looking good. Just be aware if you're heading to the airports, there was an earlier incident out at LaGuardia. It's got all sorts of flights canceled heading out east. So if you know anybody heading out east today, have them check their flight. Jim also mentioned earlier long TSA lines, I guess, like in major cities like Orlando and things like that where people tend to visit a lot. Long TSA lines. I don't know why. Apparently, we're not funding the TSA, even though they don't do a whole lot. But then maybe the ICE is going to come in, even though they're not trained to be TSA. So, but without government. We're taking your call. So, good morning. Let's take our first caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
Okay. So before I talk to you, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to that background. For that chirp, did you change your battery?
Yeah, after I got a show, I had to run around. I got the batteries. Yep. But see, I have 2 smoke detectors in the house, so I buy a 2-pack battery, a 9-volt battery. But because I always change it, always when it's spring forward, and I thought I had good batteries. Maybe the pack I bought a year ago was not fully charged batteries.
Don't buy those dollar store batteries. Buy those. I mean, for the smoke detector, buy the good ones. Spend the extra $5.
Yeah, I was trying to find batteries that are made in USA, but that's hard to find anymore.
Well, that's true. No, I mean you're right. Right.
But I got to say something right off the bat. Okay, when somebody says, "I'm glad he's dead," you know how my phone rang off. My phone went off the wall ringing the morning after that, of when Trump said that about Mueller passing away, because my 3 groups of truckers groups, the leaders called me up and they asked, they go, what do we do? I said, well, I told you guys in the beginning, vote your pocketbook, vote your conscience, and then when it comes up to election and midterm and election time, the ones that do something good for us and for us, not the other countries, not anywhere, because stupid Trump has a commercial. Says cost of fuel going down. I just looked yesterday. It hasn't gone down, but that's why I told them 3 groups. I says, tell the other guys, vote your conscience, vote your pocketbook, and vote what local, state, and federal politicians that are up for election, vote that way. Whichever ones do good for us, yes. The ones that don't do good for us, vote them out. Plain and simple, vote them out. Because, I'm so upset about what Trump said. I will not vote for him or J.D. Vance because of what he said. Commander and leader's going to tell somebody, I'm glad he's dead? That is low, very low. What do you guys think?
Bob?
What do I think about a stupid thing Trump said? I mean,
it is Monday.
Yeah. It's...
So, here, what was interesting, while you're talking about it, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. It was funny to see that, there was this Variety article that basically said, despite Chuck Norris's illustrious career, his politics are going to overshadow, everything else he accomplished. It basically saying,
meanwhile, what was it, Rob Reiner?
Right.
Who, left of Attila the Hun, and he was...
So that becomes an interesting thing where you say, and I was curious because, again, I could care less about people's politics. So Chuck Norris and, a handful of others in Hollywood that are, MAGA or to the right, essentially, in their death, it says, well, his legacy will be overshadowed by the fact he was a Republican or a MAGA. Nobody said that about, like you said, Rob Reiner. Nobody said, well, his legacy will be overshadowed by the fact that he was a liberal. We don't do that, right? And again, that's not to justify what Trump said, but this is just sort of the new norm here, is that we have no respect for the dead. Again, go back to, you guys want to bring up Charlie Kirk. We played that out here on these airwaves, the way that people, attacked him and were fired over it and things like that. So again, this is the way you guys want to have it. This is the world we want to have. Yeah. And nobody wants to say, hey, maybe we should stop. Maybe we should dial this back. I'm going to talk about that with, Micah Beckwith will be on at 7:00. We'll talk about how, his social media, where he's constantly called a racist and a pedophile protector, even though he has zero ties to, the Epstein files or anything like that. That's the new norm. That's the game that people want to play. And eventually it's going to blow up. And eventually we're all going to regret letting it go this far. But, that's what we do, right? We let things go too far and then we dial them back. Our experts could not have seen this coming. That's how it goes. That's the game. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, talking about sports networks and all this stuff, okay, I help and deal with 3 race drivers in our area, NHRA, IHRA, and I keep up on all the racing specs and results and everything of this. And when I'm at tracks, when I'm around racers, they always ask me what's going on. I can tell them everything's going on. And once in a while I tell them, JOB's got sports. If that Heartland would have more sports, just instead of baseball and basketball and football, have other sports involved, I would have a lot more listeners that I associate with listen to the station or go to that Heartland. But when you only want to have round ball sports, my friends go to other media, streaming medias, to get results. But they call to me because right now we're in our second race of the season started, and I already got all the results. And then now every week I send my results to them, and everybody's waiting for me to do it, But
Jim was just saying over the break about how that we want to start sort of bringing more sports and things like that. But again, there's, this is one of those, well, you say nobody's doing it. Well, then why aren't you guys doing it? Why aren't you guys doing it and bringing it to Jed and saying, hey, we're going to have race coverage. We're going to, I mean, again, you go out there with a couple cell phones. Anybody could do it at this point. Anybody with a couple of, cameras, cell phones, internet connection, that's all you need. And, I mean, we'll give it a home.
I started out hanging out at the old US 30 drag strip when we had to park in a dusty parking lot, and John Force was racing for Jolly Rancher, which John Force is retired now. And then, like this year, a bunch of drivers pulled out, new ones come in, and it's like everybody knows, like all this weekend, I'm getting all the results, and I've got it all printed out. Boom, I can tell you who won, who didn't win, who's in the points, because that's like I get up at 5. I got up earlier this morning because I was seeing if anything changed in the brackets. But nice thing is it's Monday, and thank God Bob got here on time using the Monon train tracks. maybe I'm gonna. I ain't got to do nothing for a while, but I'll be watching, see what happens with that lemon cake thing.
Yeah, it's a lemon pound cake sitting here on the table. We'll be talking about it in the 7:00 hour. So if you know what it is, you already know. If you don't, you'll have to stick around and find out why there's a lemon pound cake on this table. So go ahead, do your thing, and I got to take some other calls. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right, and you guys all have a good day, and everybody, all the listeners, everybody, just have a safe day today.
Thank you, appreciate it. And let's take the next caller. Good morning, caller in here.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, another red letter day. The radio sound is coming through nicely, and the phones are working good too. How about that?
How about that?
Let's knock on wood. Let's not get too excited.
Well, that's because I had to whip out my own credit card to get this. Jed said, "Oh, we got all the cable. We got everything you need. There's a bin in the back with cables." I said, "Jed, I'm just going to buy what we need." And now it works. So, but again, it took a few weeks. We had a few bumps in the road, but I'm happy with where we are. The scrappy little studio and scrappy little radio station, we managed to stay on the air. So, Walt, I was on the way in this morning. I was listening to a clip from, I don't even know how many years ago. You were talking to Ryan Walsh about the preacher's passing. It's I think about that, how long you've been a part of this radio station as well, and some of the things that we've been through. It was a nice surprise to hear Ryan Walsh's voice in one of the flashbacks today, because I hadn't heard him on the radio in a while. So again, we're all kind of one big family here, and we just keep chugging along.
Let me throw out some issues that conservative-minded or even people ought to think about, and that is the Democrats still want to put guys in women's bathrooms and changing rooms. They want to put guys in women's sports. They want to reopen the borders, and that's why they're fighting. That's why they're demonizing ICE. And their whole reform agenda is to prevent ICE from being able to do its job, which is in effect saying we don't have any respect for American borders, and we want to return to the Biden years where millions come flooding in. You vote Democrat, and states that are ruled by Democrats, they're going to open the door more to allowing people who cannot speak English, they can't read English, to allow them to drive trucks. So they'll be giving them certification to be able to drive trucks. The Democrats have not the slightest concern about the security of the United States, whether it be the border, whether it be the streets of our major cities, or what's going on overseas. When they say things like there was no imminent reason for Trump to act in terms of dealing with the Iranian growth and their ballistic missile program and their nuclear bomb program, they ignore the fact that the Iranians have been making war on the United States for 50 years. Now, American presidents have kind of looked the other way, but here we are. And somebody, if you are concerned about nuclear proliferation, the Iranians are showing, in terms of the response to the bombing of their military targets. The fact that they're slinging missiles at European targets. They sent a missile 2,000 miles to strike a military base in the middle of the Indian Ocean, run by both Americans and the British. I'll say this, I've said this in the past, that when I look at the North Koreans with their nukes and the prospect of the Ayatollahs having nukes with the means to deliver, the Ayatollahs scare me far worse. And the behavior during this conflict right now proves it. I mean, they have been striking Arab countries that have been friendly to them, trying to promoting a peaceful resolution of the conflicts out in that part of the world, like Oman, for example. They've hit them more than once, and the Omanis are saying, "What? We've been trying to help you, and you bomb us, for goodness sakes." That's how crazy they are. Another aspect of it is they weren't surprised about the attack, Americans attacking their the bosses over there. They were prepared for it, and the last Ayatollah knew very well what was coming. Yet he met with all of his top people, and the Israeli put a bomb on them. I mean, they're scary. I mean, this is what you get when you bring Democrats in. Bring it closer to home. What's their attitude toward maintaining high carbon producing industries like steel, oil refineries, and so forth? I can tell you, having dealt with, fought the eco crowd for years over issues involving the dunes, if you put a button on the corner of Route 30 and Indianapolis Boulevard and put out a sign that if somebody pushes that button, it will eliminate the steel industry, oil refineries, etc., all the high carbon producing industries. They would kill each other to be able to push that button to get rid of all that. And at the same time, they defend the Red Chinese. They only want to talk about how they produce the wind power and solar power and so forth. What they leave out is they're building, the Red Chinese are building coal-fired power plants like crazy. And they are the number one producers of carbon-based pollution in the world. And we get to eat it. This country could eliminate every bit of carbon production. We would still be eating carbon pollution because where does it come from? It comes from communist China. Look at the world map. Look to see where the United States is, the lower 48. Look where the Red Chinese are, and we are on the same parallel. The winds blow from west to east. We're eating Red Chinese pollution, but the eco Democrats, they never bring that up. They want you to believe that everything depends in terms of dealing with pollution on a world basis. That everything depends on the United States doing more. And as major economies are concerned, we've done the best compared to the Red Chinese and the Indians, and there are others like that.
Hey, Walt, we do have to take some other calls and take a break here. But, again, I think this comes back to the idea that why, like you said, so many of Iran's neighboring states are at a point where they are a target of their ballistic missile systems. But this always becomes the question is, why does it become our problem? Why can why don't we have a UN, we have a NATO, we have all of these groups? Why are they not taking, why is it that we're the ones leading the charge when we're the ones that they can't reach with these missiles, right? I mean, that's sort of the issue that I run into is, why does this become our problem? Especially now, you basically, the entire world calls us bullies, even though half of them are at threat because of the Iranian ballistic missiles. So, Walt, appreciate the call. Do you want to take a break? We have other calls. What do you want to do?
Oh, we could take a break.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back with your calls. We've got LT, Lieutenant Governor, calling in at 7 o'clock. Does he know the number, or we can Zoom him or whatever? Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
He's going to call in.
Fantastic. Okay, so we got time for your calls here. Got a few more minutes. We'll be back with more after this.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Ennigenberg Roofing offers roof replacements, repairs, and new construction. CertainTeed Shingle Master certified, our goal is to treat every customer and project with respect, courtesy, and honesty. Serving Northwest Indiana for over 63 years, contact us for a free roof replacement estimate at 219-365-8879. Mention this ad and receive a free upgrade to CertainTeed Pro Shingles. Ennigenberg Roofing, 219-365-8879.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and the last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
For over 100 years, Roofers Local 26 has been keeping Northwest Indiana dry and safe. Since 1919, our highly trained members have built a reputation for skills, safety, and reliability. With a 4-year apprenticeship and certifications in OSHA safety, first aid, and CPR, we deliver quality you can trust. When you need roofing done right, choose Roofers Local 26, protecting what matters most for over a century. For more information, visit www.roofers26.com.
.642 here in the region. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather before we get started. In another segment, we've got a few minutes before Micah Beckwith calls in, so we're taking your calls at 219-845-1100. In traffic, not much to report this morning. Things are quiet here in Indiana. 8094, 65, Skyway Toll Road, everything looking good. Bishop Ford looking good. Dan Ryan looking good. Everything looking good. 294 on the city looking good. Everything overall looking good. Just a reminder that there was an incident at LaGuardia overnight involving a plane and a fire truck. LaGuardia shut down. So if you're heading to the airports this morning, you know anybody heading to the airports, heading out east, make sure they check their flights. Jim was saying earlier about the long lines in TSA. I'd say at this point, people are saying get there 2 or 3 hours earlier. But good luck. If you have flown lately, let us know how that went. But in the meantime, we're taking your calls here on a Monday morning here in WGLB. So let's take some calls. So good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Trucker Mike, you and your trucker buddies aren't going to vote for Donald Trump because he said he's glad Mueller's dead. Let me remind you of some history with Mueller and Comey, Russian collusion, the Hillary server. What else have we got, guys? So, Trucker Mike, how about if I spread lies and try to destroy you and your family? And then when I die, are you going to come to the funeral and the visitation and give your condolences? Or are you going to be pissed off enough to say, I'm glad he's dead because he tried to destroy me and my family?
So, okay, this becomes a question of decorum. This becomes, again, I was outraged here on these airwaves to see the reactions to Charlie Kirk's murder. When Rob Reiner was murdered, we tried, again, don't agree with him. Don't celebrate his death. I mean, again, is there a certain point where we say, look, he tried to ruin my life, but decorum, I'm the president. Can we find a balance there, or is that ship sailed?
Could he dial it back? Absolutely. But I don't know. I mean, I've had this and that in my life, but I've never had people spend millions of dollars and spread lies around the world on a server to try to destroy me and my family.
Well, understand,
Darcy,
though.
you okay if I start spreading baloney about your family?
You know, I think I said this right when it came out. It was a completely obnoxious thing to say, but because we have this rolling memory where we forget, anything that happened more than a week ago, Mueller was awful to Trump, and seemingly at the time, that I think some people had more likely the left had I don't want to say a right, but had at least a cause to stand. Yeah, Mueller, get him. But now come to find out that 90-some-odd% of it was all false. It was all fake news, and the guy really tried to destroy his life. So there was that no filter moment between. I have zero doubt that that's what Trump thought in his brain. There should have been a filter between his brain and his fingertips sending it out. But I get it. I mean, if someone is trashing your family in that way for so long and so publicly, I mean, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
I think the part that a lot of people miss here is the fact that you have to understand that people that are outraged by this also still think that the Steele dossier is real because of the media that they follow. So, I mean, this idea of it was amazing to see how many people said, Mueller was a hero because he exposed Russian collusion, even though that's been completely debunked. There are media sources out there that still run with this headline and still run with this idea that Mueller exposed some grand conspiracy, even though we know it was all made up. And that's again, going back to the two realities, is there are people that you're talking to and people that you're dealing with on social media that don't know that all of this was a hoax, that all of this was nonsense. I use the example of, during Trump's first presidency, the word Russia never came off the CNN ticker. Do you know what I mean? Like that, you have the two realities. And so that's the problem. We are so far apart in realities that it's hard to have a conversation with somebody when the two of you are living in completely different worlds.
Well, and you're right. There are so many low information voters out there that will still say, you can. I still run into folks around town that, oh yeah, the Russian collusion. He's a Russian asset. Oh, did you hear what he had? These people do in a hotel room. All of the Steele dossier crap was garbage. Yet. It doesn't matter, because if you're the first one out there with that type of information, it lives and it breathes, and Robert Mueller certainly allowed that to continue.
These are the same people that explain to me how Elon Musk and Starlink stole the second election. So, and don't question Joe Biden's 81 million votes. But again, that's the reality that you're living in. That's the world that you're living in. And I don't know how, people have conversations when they're that far apart.
So Mueller didn't have the intestinal fortitude to stand up and say, all of this is complete lies.
Right.
None of it is truth. And in the meanwhile, the president is spending millions of dollars of his own money trying to defend these things. So, Trucker Mike, I'm okay with the president saying it. I'm okay. Maybe that's toxic masculinity to you, but maybe you need to pull your head out, reach down, grab a pair, and go, the president is trying to clean up this mess. I hope you rethink this, and you and your trucker buddies vote for Trump and everything he's trying to do to drain the swamp. Again, freedom isn't free.
Well, and I also see a lot of truckers right now complaining about the fact that diesel is, $5 and $6. So that's a concern to them. That is a concern on their bottom line, where they're already struggling as it is. And now gas has gone up for them. And they say, why am I being affected? Why are you coming after my livelihood? Why is oil so expensive? Why did you start this war with Iran that's only affecting my pocketbook? So, there's a lot of people out there that are upset about oil prices, and rightfully so. And that becomes another question is, will this issue single-handedly derail the chances of Republicans winning? I mean, they may lose everything at this point because of the economy and because of oil prices, right? It's about the economy, stupid. And that's the question is this going to backfire? Is, Trump trying to do a good thing in Iran going to backfire back at home?
Freedom isn't free, gentlemen.
Okay. I thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Do you have any other calls? You have more? Okay, perfect. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Unhinged.
Unhinged.
Unhinged. Trump is unhinged. And I don't care what nobody say, he's unhinged. To say something like that, and Trucker Mike, I have to agree with you. And you know I agree with you when something happened before, and I didn't agree with you because I thought it was wrong for you to say that to me. But I'm sure you've rethought that position in terms of, somebody being killed, But let me just say this. This guy is unhinged. He's the president of the state. You think he would care about J.D. Vance becoming president? But if J.D. Vance, and I think what Mike is saying, that J.D. Vance won't say nothing, but I know he can't say nothing because Trump can't kick him out, but he could have him just go home and you keep him home. Donald Trump right now, he don't care nothing about fuel. You know why? I'm going to tell you why he don't care nothing about this fuel being high. Because he gets in this Air Force One and flies to the White House. That's the Southern White House. That's in Florida. You think he's sleeping in the thing every night? No, he's down there. That's costing us all kinds of money with the security stuff like that. And for people say, and I like I say, I think it's all I've said before, and I've said to you, they got some good Republicans. I'm not going to be. I'm going to vote for this. We see that Donald Trump right now. Okay, give him 10 points. Border, great job, Donald Trump. Great job. Now, what he's talking about going into Cuba. When we spending $2 billion a day, $2 billion a day is some stuff that we have absolutely no business, and not a winning war. It's stupidity.
Ron,
I just say I'm not going to even call this guy's name, but he hits on me about Johnson over in Chicago. But he ain't saying nothing about this unhinged person who has mental problems. And I know that his doctor is not going to. He's sick, but he needs to sick because when a person becomes incapacitated, they should be able to serve in office. He has. I mean, people have been good to him, and I think he can say anything. He puts his name on everything. So I put his name on coins and stuff like that. He don't care. He don't care about you. We cannot win that war over there. Now, we talk about taking over Cuba. How far do we follow this guy? But then I know that the voices, what really believe that what Mike said is way outnumbers what I guess this last guy. I'm not going to even name. He just got off the radio. He likes to call my name, but I'm not going to call my name because it's not that important. The kind of garbage that he spreads, that Mike ought to just whatever, So keep saying what you're saying, and I've had some disagreement with you because I thought one thing you said. You remember what it was, but again, I apologize. You didn't, but but it was terrible. But again. What you saying? Stand up and stand right, and stop talking about vote Democrat, vote Republican. That's the only way we should vote. Vote red. I vote red, white, and blue because those are the American colors. Okay, red for Republican, blue Democrat, and white for Independent. Okay, that's how I vote.
Okay, hey,
that's how I vote. And like I say,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
So we got to take some other calls before Lieutenant Governor calls in. So
I'm just saying right now. Steve Mueller was put in by a Republican, right? I believe, right?
Is that right, Bob?
Am I right?
I think he was a holdover. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Bush. It was Bush. I know what I'm talking about. It was Bush. So he was in, and basically, because of Trump, like I say, if he says something about Trump, then these people say, "Well, get rid of this guy. Get rid of him. Where is?" And pretty soon, we won't be able to talk on this radio station. And Jed talked about it this morning. Because if you don't go along with everything Trump said, he will shut down everything. You say, I say, or anybody else. And it will become, what's the rich guy in the world name? He's from Africa. He's you know who I'm talking about. Tesla's car guy.
Oh, you're talking about Elon.
The Tesla, Elon Musk. Yeah. And they have all these radio stations. You won't be able to have a free speech on this radio station because they'll just buy it up. So, again, that makes my blood boil. Donald Trump is not important to me. It's not important to me. And I don't like the way he's making all kinds of money. He's That's from Florida. That's what he goes out. He don't stay in there every night. He takes Air Force One down to
and
Florida.
I do want to say something with that with the Southern White House.
Okay.
I promise this is not a gotcha comment, but in his first term, I just looked it up. He was away 378 days during his first term. But Biden was away 500, so 200 more days. And did we have a problem with? I mean, I certainly did. But would that be something from the left, where every time now we see Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and we get folks saying, "Hey, he's not in the White House, he's not doing his job." Biden did it 200 more times than Trump did,
I
and did we?
And Biden's wrong too. I'm not going to compare. I'm just saying right now he is the president of the United States. Pull up, said clean cross America. Okay, right now he's down. Whatever. Biden is gone, and he'll never be back. Well, if Biden were to die today, he'd probably say something about Biden. And Biden is a sick man.
Well, and one more thing I would say about that is, if something happened to Trump today, do we have any doubt that the left would say awful things out of Hollywood and nobody would say anything about it? You'd get a few right wingers, and
they would be wrong.
Well, they would be wrong, but would anybody say it? Would if you get some of these?
I would say it. I would say he doesn't deserve to be president, but he also doesn't deserve to be dead. Trump deserves to be dead. Absolutely not.
Okay, so we need to move on, Ron, because
right now he's costing us $2 billion a day. Okay, now you like that, and you can't buy gas. Okay, $5 a gallon. Okay, take care.
Okay, appreciate the call, Ron. So let's go ahead. Do we want to take one quick call? Do you have the lieutenant governor? What do we want to do here?
We have 2 more callers.
Okay, let's take. Are they low? So if you see an out of town call, it might be the governor. So let's take the other call, and then let's take a quick break. So go ahead. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
And I know my cell number is not a local number, so thanks to the producer for taking this call, because I really want to respond to Matlock and Trucker Mike. I mean, Chuck, can I say the B word on the radio?
How about we just go with we know what you're talking about? How about that?
Okay, so yeah, that little pearl clutching B, Trucker Mike, he'd rather have Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris running our country right now as opposed to an actual business person who's changing things for the better for all of us. That just boils my blood that he was like, I'll never vote for him again because he talked about Mueller. The guy actually tried to ruin his life. And there's people in the chat talking about, well, you have to be diplomatic. Is trying to indict someone 47 times over bogus charges, is that diplomatic? So the choice is you have someone who's got a filthy mouth, which I can understand, or someone who's actually not playing fair, using the judicial system as a weapon. Is that what you want, Trucker Mike? And as far as Matlock is concerned, you've got no credibility, dude. None. They were spending $2 billion a day for Somali daycare centers in Minneapolis. So shut up. All right, I'm
excellent
done.
points. Thank you for not cursing. Appreciate it. Okay, we have one more call.
I tried.
You did a good job.
No, I got you, and I understand your plight. When I first got on here, so I have, not to say trucker mouth, but I have a sailor's mouth. We'll not say trucker mouth, say sailor mouth. I'm awful with it, and one of the first things Chuck told me was, "Hey, act like you're talking to your grandma.
Just pretend like you were in your grandma's front room."
Because I couldn't tell you how many times it's almost come out.
Just pretend like you're talking to your grandma. So let's go. We got one last call, and we got to take a break. So good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I wasn't going to call back, but, I don't know. Mont's right, because I was wrong. And, I'm a low IQ truck driver. I don't know,
Okay. With that, thanks for changing your smoke detector battery. It is 7 o'clock, Trucker Mike. We do have to We do have to take a break, Trucker Mike.
Beep.
So, thank you for calling.
I don't know.
Okay. Beep. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Trying to do a show here. Okay, go ahead. And thank you for the call. Let's go ahead. We're going to take a break. It is 7 o'clock. You're listening to AM 1230, 104.7 FM in beautifully rustic Hammond, Indiana. We'll be back with the Lieutenant Governor in a few minutes.
Are you sausage curious?
Who's ready for Polish?
Big Frank Sausage has the very best Polish food in the region.
You had a mouthful of Big Frank sausage?
We have a full bar, dine-in, carry-out, delivery, and catering available.
I've had a mouthful of Big Frank sausage.
I've got a mouthful of Big Frank sausage.
219-378-9556. Smacznego i na zdrowie.
Who's ready for Polish?
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors bring the highest standard of electrical work to Lake County homes, schools, and businesses. From everyday fixes to once-in-a-lifetime builds, we don't just get the job done, we get it done right and up to the highest safety standards. When you need electrical work, hire the professionals who power Indiana. Powering Indiana, Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
Hey, it's 7:02 in the region. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather. Traffic is surprisingly light today. Not much to report. Things are moving along well here in Indiana. Bishop Ford to the Dan Ryan on in. Everything looking good. 294 looking good around the city. Everything looking pretty good this morning. Just remember, if you are headed to the airports, there are some long delays due to, TSA, ICE, whoever doing their thing. There was an accident out at LaGuardia. So if you or anyone heading out east today, have them check their flight. There are delays and cancellations because of that. So we are waiting for the Lieutenant Governor to call in.
He just said he'll be calling in a second.
Fantastic. So just keep an eye out for that.
Oh, I think he's on right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, let's take his call. Good morning, sir.
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
No, so first off, before Chuck gets into, I'm sure he's got a bunch of questions. I'm going to say, you do have a standing invitation. Anytime you want to call in, you just give us a heads up, and we love to hear from you. You're a good friend of the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's always an honor to be on with you, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. And, yeah, that means a lot to be able to just call in and answer questions and get the message out. So thank you.
It's unfortunate that you couldn't be with us this morning because I brought in a lemon pound cake. So we're eating some lemon pound cake. Did you follow that saga at all, Lieutenant Governor?
You know what? I've got other things going on in my life. I mean, a little bit, but
the Afro Man trial was not on the top of your list.
Here's the only thing I will say, just as an aside, Afro Man is playing in Clayton, Indiana tonight. He will be in Lafayette tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm just saying. I mean, I know you're probably not a fan, but he is in town. It might be. I'm just assuming.
I thought he died. I don't know. I just thought he was dead. I listened to him back when I was in college, but I just feel like they all pass away at some point. I haven't heard anything about him for a long time until just recently. So,
but he is in town.
Good on him for staying alive.
All I would say is maybe give him a quick phone call. Say, hey, Little Hoosier Hospitality, welcome to Indiana. We're glad you're here. We're not going to pull you over while you're in town. Don't worry about it. Just tell him everything's cool. Welcome to Indiana. That's all I'm saying.
It's good. That's a good deal. I mean, he needs to know. I mean, we have not legalized weed yet, so I mean, somebody better tell him.
You know the amount of people that are going to hang on those words right now when you just said "yet." The amount of folks that are doing that, and that was one of the topics that we were going to talk about. You are. We had the one of the owners of the station here, Jim, was in here. We were talking about how, man, Micah seems to be one of the most controversial figures in the state of Indiana, good, bad, and different, that anything you say, anything you post, people just grab onto that and run. We can talk about what happened at the Lake County Board of Elections here in a second, but I guess one style question that I'll have, again, stealing the mic from Chuck, is what is that like, knowing that? I mean, do you just say it and post it? Or is there like, I'm going to hit send, but no, I got to attack this 14 different ways because, you know, if I say the word yet, it'll be a week-long news story.
Well, no, I mean, I speak my mind how I see it, and that's just that's who I've always been. I mean, I don't run it through, you know, a comms department or, it's sometimes I'm sure my team gets they get a little frustrated because I don't do that. But at the same time, it's like I didn't get elected to sugarcoat things. I didn't get elected to, be that career politician type. I don't really want to be a politician. I mean, that wasn't my life goal. I got into this fight because I was sick and tired of seeing people not fighting. And we had supermajority Republican leadership. And I just feel like sometimes they never fight. They just kind of get pushed over by the progressive, radical, ideological left. And I got into this fight to say, no, I'm going to punch back. And so, and I do like to troll the left. I mean, that is sort of a hobby of mine. And you can't golf right now because it's super cold out. So I got to find something to do with my time. So that's one way to do it.
Well, here's the thing, though, is they sit here and they talk about controversial. But, I mean, even over the weekend, you could post something, say, hey, I stopped in this diner in Washington, Indiana. And what happened? Somebody that has hate has no place here, profile photo, calling you a racist and a pedophile protector and things like. So it's sort of like. So that was what I wanted to ask you about, is you could sit here and post like, hey, I stopped in at this little diner, and then a couple people are calling you a racist. Like, how do you handle that? Because if it were me, I'd be calling the governor and going, hey, look, we need to spend more money on mental health in this state. I'm just saying.
Well,
there's that too.
Chuck, you're not wrong. Well, I think that's I piss off a lot of the demons in the world, right? And to me, that's a good thing. That's a good sign, because I could post the most common sense, nice post, so totally benign post, and the Marxists will come out in droves in everything that I say and do, which tells me that I'm on the right track. If the Marxists are getting pissed because I'm doing anything, then that just means I'm a threat to their ideology. And I want to be a threat to their ideology, because Marxism has no place. And this, to your point, you can look at the profile pictures of these people, and they're just radical, progressive nut jobs. I mean, these are people that literally don't know what a boy and a girl are. They don't understand even basic biology, and then they come on my page and and then I'll just mess with them. I mean, there's like when we were in Washington, Indiana, guys, we stopped in at this amazing restaurant. It's been around the 1930s. It was called the White Steamer, and people turned it into a racist thing. Oh my gosh, like you're a racist for going to a place called the White Steamer, and so I just tell them, well, how can I be a racist? Because I identify as a female black person. So I'm an African American woman, like that's who I identify as. So like, how can I be a racist? And then that just ticks them off. They're like, you can't do that. You can't identify as a female black person. I'm like, why not?
Now I feel bad. Well, that's the thing, though. Like, so are you saying I can't go to White Castle anymore? I mean, like, what? I didn't know that. Yeah. So, okay, well, this becomes a thing, though. You have been one of the most accessible lieutenant governors in my memory. And I mean, even the fact that you were here and, you come to Crown Point, you were in, I think, Gary not too long ago. I mean, you spend your weekends traveling the state and meeting people. And even though you do that, and you're probably one of the most accessible people in state government, you still get attacked for it. And that's sort of amazing to me. And I don't know how you have to really be a good turn the other cheek kind of Christian when you see this kind of stuff.
Well, that is true. I mean, I try to I try to make sure that I'm not going after wayward sheep. I mean, that's the discernment piece, right? Like, I want to go after the wolves, right? I want to go after the wolves that want to destroy, that want to kill, that want to totally tear apart the American traditional value system. And so those are the people or the things, the ideologies that I'm looking for. Sometimes there's a wayward sheep that's not really a wolf, and I end up, beating them over the head a little too hard, and I have to be careful not to do that. 'Cause I'm not trying to go out and, attack wayward sheep. I want to teach the wayward sheep the right way to go. Like, so sometimes it's discerning, okay, who's coming to me in good faith? If someone is critical of me, are they critical of me from a good faith effort? They're just trying to understand, or are they a radical Marxist looking to totally destroy the American way of life? And, those are the people I like to go to war with. And so that's kind of it's sort of the discernment piece that you struggle, that I find is the struggle, right? That's where I don't want to, go after somebody that really just genuinely wants to have a good faith conversation. But I might be so like amped up, and everywhere I turn, I'm getting punched, and so I'm ready to punch back, and all of a sudden I turn and throw a punch, or a proverbial punch, obviously, and the person wasn't really coming to attack me. They were really more just coming to seek answers. So that's, I've had to learn and grow in that world, and I don't always get it right there, but I try.
Well, I want to pivot real quick and talk about this the story that came out the other day about Indiana leading the country in foreclosures. So what are your thoughts on that? What do we think is causing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it. I think the 4 years of the Biden inflation, horrible policies. Like, you have to remember, like, what we're dealing with right now in the Trump administration is he's cleaning up messes. And whenever we talk about inflation or economic policy or housing, I mean, this is it's a 1 year to 2 year catch up game. Like, you're not going to see the results of things until a year or two after the policies have really had time to metastasize. And so that's what we're doing. Like, we're seeing this is a result of 4 years of really, really bad free market economic policies that the Biden administration put in. Now, I think what President Trump is doing is going to fix a lot of this, and I think what Governor Braun's trying to do is to link arms with the president. But it's going to take, the residual effect you're not going to feel that and see that until probably another year or two down the road, and that's just it's kind of that economic game that you have to play, and sometimes the people forget that. They think, okay, well, President Trump is in power right now. He should fix it right now. Or Governor Braun's in power right now. It needs to be fixed right now. It's like, guys, that's not how the system works. It takes time to go back and clean up these messes, and then you'll start to, see the sunlight sort of cracking through the clouds a little bit. So, I just tell people, hang on, bear with this. This isn't gonna be an overnight fix, but I do think we're putting right policies in that will begin to shore up the system that has been totally wrecked. Just because of, again, really bad Democrat policy.
Well, okay, and so I'm going to push back a little bit because it's easy to say that, and I don't necessarily disagree, but also we just hit $39 trillion in debt the other day, and they're really, by some accounts, President Trump's been responsible for about $9 trillion of that. So this idea that, you've got both sides that continue to spend, there's been no serious discussion about cutting spending in, 20 or 30 years at this point. So, I mean, this is one of those things where even, recently we're talking about people were protesting NIPSCO, the local utility, about them raising their rates. And I always say all of this comes back to people talk about, like even with the foreclosure crisis, we talk about escrow. Well, in my case, my insurance has gone up, 20% a year for the last few years. And they say, well, that's because the replacement cost of your home has gone through the roof. So, the cost to rebuild a home after an accident has gone up because building materials have gone up, et cetera, et cetera. So this is sort of the thing is that, we could talk about this, but I'm not seeing any real push on either side to cut spending and to do anything about this growing debt. And that's sort of my big concern is, at the end of the day, that debt, the service on that debt, the deflation, that, the devaluing the dollar that comes with that debt is sort of the elephant in the room that no one really wants to talk about. They just talk about the symptoms and the side effects of that debt.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Chuck. I mean, and I've been a big critic of the Republican Party and Democrat Party on both because neither one wants to deal with the problem. And I think if I have to give a sort of an assessment of what's going on, let me say this. I think state leadership is one thing. I think our state leadership, we have a balanced budget amendment. Like, we balance our budget Indiana's been very fiscally responsible from a state perspective for the last 20 years. We do a good job from a state-wide perspective. And Elise Nushala, our comptroller, she's leading the charge of state comptrollers to push Washington to get this federal deficit under control. I mean, every time she speaks, that's what she's talking about, the $39 trillion debt. I mean, we spend more in interest payments on our debt than we do on our entire military. And that's really, really concerning. I think when you go to Washington, this is what I hear from Republicans out in Washington, they just they don't know what to do. I mean, it's one of those things where if they're not going to, the Democrats aren't going to let them cut spending, and they don't have a supermajority in Washington to where they can actually fix this problem. And so the Democrats are just going to steamroll this all day long. And so they kind of look at it like all we can do is, CRs, these concurring resolutions. We have no way to address any budget issue or crisis. And I think they sort of just say, well, we're not going to win this battle. We've got to, and quite frankly, Chuck, I don't know. I think we're going to have to hit a complete economic collapse of the dollar in order for this to actually get reset and get back on track. And I hate to say that. I don't want to see that. But just $39 trillion at this point, and there's no end in sight. I think the market will reset. The market will take care of this problem if we don't do it. And unfortunately, if the market has to do it, it's going to be very painful for everybody. And that's kind of my concern. And I think we're heading in that direction.
Well, it's nice to see that, that the comptroller is talking about the debt. It's something I try to mention at every $1 trillion. I always joke, I've been on these airwaves for about $18 trillion now. But I guess the question then is there anything that our state can do? Again, you're right. We've had a very fiscally conservative state with a balanced budget. Is there anything that the state can do to kind of insulate itself from that? I mean, I think we all agree that there is going to be some sort of day of reckoning. Is there anything that we can do to sort of insulate ourselves from that? Or are we just sort of along for the ride?
Well, I think it's a really good question. I've thought a lot about that, Chuck. And there's a prophecy in Scripture that actually talks about this, that, in the last days, it says a bag of gold will be able to buy a loaf of bread. Right. And so what does that tell you? It tells you that when the economic collapse of a society happens, things that really have value are things that keep you alive. Gold, fuel, water, or I'm sorry, not gold, bread, fuel, water, things like that. Gold has no place because it's just a precious metal. And so I look at that and say, okay, if Indiana can be proactive, what should we be investing in? We should be investing in growing our own produce, right? We should have every community, homes in every community that are raising chickens, growing their own food, making sure that we are as dependent as possible. We don't want to be dependent on the government. We want to be independent. And so I think that's probably where I would encourage Hoosiers to say, what can you do to get yourself off the grid, if you will, right? However you can do that. Really start laying the groundwork for that right now. And churches should take a really big proactive role in this, because churches can be the place where when all hell breaks loose, people are going to run to the church. And so churches should be looking at how are we growing our food? How are we getting things and resources that we can then, give to people in need? And so I would say we've got to think outside the box. We've got to be creative. It's not easy to do in our economic world right now, because everything is so interwoven and everything's connected, and we're all dependent on everything else. And so, but I think that's probably where Indiana really needs to start focusing. Say, hey, if tomorrow happens and the collapse of the federal government happens because the dollar just we've been really foolish with the dollar. Let's make sure that we're good. I've actually talked to the governor about this.
I'm glad to hear that. I really am.
We were in the state. Yeah. We were in the statewide the 5. Statewide officers and the governor, we get together for a brown bag lunch every month. And a couple months ago, I brought that up. I said, hey, if all hell goes up, if all hell breaks loose and our dollar collapses, what can we do as a state to make sure that we are somewhat insulated from feeling the effects? So we were having conversations on how what it would look like. So, but great question, Chuck. You're really thinking proactively, and I love that.
I said somebody has to, right? Because everybody else is so focused on so many silly issues. It's sort of like, some days you feel like the last guy around that seems to be paying attention to things like the $39 trillion in debt. But okay, so I know we want to get to this big issue that you brought up last week. As we're talking to Lieutenant Governor LT, as I like to call him. I don't know if he likes that or not. But so you,
it's not the worst thing he's been called in the last 48
I would say
hours,
of all
so-
the things he gets called, LT is
I
not
mean,
the worst. but.
You can't go to a burger joint without being called a racist. So, LT is not so bad for a Monday morning.
Okay, so you called out Lake County.
Yep.
You called out Lake County last week. They had a get out the vote event. They called it a nonpartisan get out the vote event. But it sounds like from what you're saying that the conservative groups were sort of not invited. There wasn't room for them, even though that there were people there pushing No Kings protests and things like that. So, sort of, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I got calls from people who are in the Lake County Republican Party and a couple conservative groups that wanted to table at this event, and they were told there's not room. That's the first thing they were told. They said, "Hey, there's no room," and these were nonprofits. Like it wasn't like the Republican Party was looking to table. It was these nonprofits that were, conservative nonprofits, kind of like the No Kings or the Indivisible, like on the left side. And they were told by the elections office that there's no room and it's already sold out. So they went to this thing, and there were empty tables. There were open spaces. There was plenty of room. And so it was very clear that the government was using its power to keep out conservative-leaning nonprofit groups that wanted to do their turnout the vote, drives, and they were just making a way for these far-left radical groups like the No Kings group. I mean, like if you want to talk about politics, No Kings is all about politics. I mean, this is not a, nonpartisan group. They clothe themselves in that, but they are really very partisan, and they hate Donald Trump. They hate Republicans. They hate everything about conservatism. And so, which is fine. You have a right to hate whatever you want in America. This is a free country. However, as the government and as the elections office and the elections commission, you cannot keep other groups out that would be on the other side. And that's what I was calling out, was not that there were No Kings, flyers at the table, but that they strategically kept the conservative nonprofits from coming out and tabling at this event too. And that's not okay.
Well, and I think that goes to the discussion about, when I always talk about, obviously there's been a lot of talk about the idea of people, specifically divorced women losing the right to vote thanks to the SAVE Act and all these sort of things. And people talk about low voter turnout and they try to blame all of these things. But I think a lot of it comes back to this sort of disenfranchisement that the average person sees when they see situations like this, where it's sort of like, they feel as though there's really no one representing them. They feel as though, this sort of, well, both sides are corrupt. There's really nothing, why bother voting, things like that. And I wonder what we can do just sort of on both sides. And in my case, as the third party as libertarian, what we can do to sort of bring these people back from being disenfranchised from, sort of the ugliness that's always this sort of back and forth mudslinging of politics.
Well, I think the first thing you got to do is, talk to people. I mean, like get out. I mean, that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm, traveling the state, shaking hands with people, hearing from people, doing our 92 and U town hall tours. Every county we're stopping at. I've done a couple town halls already up in Lake County over the last year and a half of my tenure as lieutenant governor. And so, I think that's the first thing. People just, live in these echo chambers, and it's funny. I'll get people on my social media, even this morning. There's a guy on my social media that likes to just, give me a bunch of, crap for stuff, and he claims to be a Christian. And so I said, hey, why don't you come out? You and I will publicly debate. We'll bring people. We can talk about what, the Bible says and how this impacts policy and politics. And he makes some excuses. Why would I waste my time doing that? I've got better things to do. It's like, well, you certainly are a keyboard warrior. And I think, I bring up that example because that's kind of indicative of the state of our culture right now, where people want to be, this keyboard warrior. They'll have this faux courage behind a screen. But the moment they have to be faced with the person face to face, they fold like a cheap suit and they run the other direction. I think we just can't do that. It's like, no, we got to have face-to-face, handshake conversations. We can dialogue. We can disagree. That helps, I think, tremendously when, and I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of people that I've met at my town halls that will come up to me afterwards and say, hey, well, I didn't really like you at all beforehand, but I can at least appreciate what you're doing now. And I at least get a perspective of where you're coming from. And I think that right there is like, that's why I do what I do, because that is saying, okay, we're recognizing that we're both human, right? We're all humans. We may probably agree on more than we disagree about, but we don't know that until we actually, come face to face and sit down and reason together. And so that's I think the first thing we can do. And the second thing, politics is always going to be divisive. It's not, people thinking, oh my gosh, it's really bad. It's never been this bad before. Well, yeah, it has. I mean, we fought a civil war over politics. I mean, like, this is, what was the politics of the day were policy over, the North and the South, slavery, freedom and slavery. And that was all a political battle. And so, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated because half the country hated him, right? Like, think about that. Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest presidents that almost 95% of Americans today can probably agree on the fact that Abe Lincoln was a great president. Well, when he was assassinated, he probably wasn't getting more than 45% approval rating, and it was all coming from the North, right? And so you have to remember, like, this has always been a struggle, unifying one another in the moment. And so I just think, let's be realistic. Like, politics, just its very nature is it's a divisive sport, and we have to go into it recognizing that. And if you come in with that mindset, I think it keeps your expectations grounded. You don't think, oh my gosh, why can't we all just sit around and sing Kumbaya together? Like, no, like, it's going to be, rough. And the Bible says iron sharpens iron, right? And when you sharpen iron, it's loud, there's sparks that fly, it's abrasive, but you get sharper if you do it consistently the right way, which is just getting together, having those tough conversations, and being willing to let people push back on your worldview and ideology and let people challenge you. And if you can't stand up to that, you either don't know what you know well enough or you're wrong, and you should probably change. So I think those are, to answer your question, Chuck, that's probably how I see it a little bit.
No, it makes sense.
Just do those things. I think it would be better. Yeah.
Okay, I got two quick things before we let you go. So we did have Rob Kendall on a couple weeks ago. We asked him about you guys breaking bread. We got a very firm maybe. He put a lot of stipulations on it, but we got a maybe.
Of course he did.
So
no restaurants in Washington, Indiana. It was a disaster.
Yeah. So I got a very firm maybe from Rob about. I told him that you gave a very Christian answer about bygones and getting together, and he gave a very firm maybe. So the other thing I need a favor from you. I don't know. Are you coming to town next week for the big train grand opening? Are you invited to that?
You know what? I think I was invited. I don't know if I was available. I have to go back and look. I'm going to be up at Northwest, Purdue Northwest, this week for the Prove Me Wrong. No, Pick Up the Tour, or Pick Up the Mic tour, I think. Let me see. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull up my calendar.
I saw that too.
I
will
be up in your area here too.
Well, and I only ask because Bob, his invitation to as a Dyer Town councilman that's helping pay for the train, their invitations to the grand opening got lost in the mail. So we are hoping we can be your +1 and +2.
Well, I will say after much consternation on the radio here about a week ago, guess who got an email?
Who got an email? Not I.
The Dyer Town Council. Bring us on. I think most of us are going to be busy that day. And stay tuned. We may be holding our own grand opening party at the station, perhaps at the same time as the super grand opening up in Hammond. So stay tuned for that.
I do need a +1. So if you have, maybe you can just send your invitation my way. I can just say, Lieutenant Governor gave me his invite. Said he couldn't make it. Gave it to me. Said I can make it.
Wait a second. You don't look like Micah Beckwith. You don't look like a racist fascist.
I'll do my hair. I'll do my hair differently that day. But okay. Well, so you're going to be at Purdue. Did you find that? I was looking for it myself because I saw that you announced that. I was looking for that here. So you'll be at Purdue. Go ahead. Did you find it?
No, it was. Yeah. It was. It's going to be on Wednesday. Let me make sure the date. I got the date right. Wednesday, the 25th at 6 p.m. Purdue Northwest. Pick up the mic with Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. So, 6 p.m. on Wednesday. So if you're around and want to come out and people can ask questions, and it's kind of a town hall, forum, kind of like what Charlie would do a lot and with his, type things. Because this is Turning Point USA is sponsoring this. So this is this is one of their clubs are putting this on. So happy to be there.
Fantastic. I will definitely, if you promise to bring your invitation, I will stop by and shake hands with you and say hi.
Chuck is doing everything he can to get out there on opening day.
I know, right? Yeah, it's a quid pro quo. I don't really do that, Chuck. I don't know if you know. I don't play that game. So, yeah.
That's fine. I'll find somebody who will. Okay, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you. Again, I definitely appreciate the fact that you take time, you spend your weekends traveling the state, visiting, everybody. Despite the feedback that you get on your social media, I know that I see a lot of positive feedback about it, and I appreciate your accessibility. So keep up the good work. We appreciate you and can't wait to see you up here.
Hey, thanks, guys. And I will say this last thing is just so you know, when you're out talking to people, I get so many more positive comments from people face-to-face. I get messages in my inbox all the time. Hey, thanks for what you're doing. Keep it up. So if you're listening to this, those encouraging messages go a long way to your elected officials because they oftentimes, the public outcry tends to be what's public-facing, and people see that. So when you think about it, send your elected official a word of encouragement. It really does go a long way, and that's what keeps me going. And I'll tell you, I get far more encouraging notes from people or personal, face-to-face, like, hey, we are so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. And that's what keeps me going. So to everyone listening that has given the message like that, thank you. I really appreciate that, and I'll keep fighting for your family and for our future. So appreciate you guys, and always happy to be with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. That was Lieutenant Governor, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with traffic and weather by Liam. We'll be back with more after this.
Ogren Insurance, Hammond's oldest family-owned independent insurance agency, now in its third generation, providing clients in the Chicago area with products from quality insurance companies to handle your every need. Regardless of driving history, Ogren Insurance can find the right coverage for you at competitive prices. To learn more about the insurance solutions and services we offer throughout Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or visit our website, ogreninsurance.com. We're located at 6929 Homan Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. Do business locally with someone you know and trust.
When your home needs help, the last thing you need is a faceless corporation or sales-driven franchise. At Myers Companies, we've been proudly local since 1951, born and raised right here in Northwest Indiana. We're family-owned and operated, built on trust, hard work, and integrity. And because we're family, we treat you like family. Your comfort and safety always come first. For HVAC, plumbing, and electrical done right, choose Myers Companies. Local. Family-owned. Here for your family.
For a fast and friendly car wash, go to Easy Clean Car Wash. Open 7 days a week in 4 convenient locations: Highland, Griffith, Cherville, and Lansing. Free vacuuming, air freshener, and a towel with every wash. It's fast, safe, and gentle. For more information and hours of all our locations, visit myeasyclean.com. Also, see how you can wash your car daily with our $10 Ultimate Wash for only $19.99 per month. Give your car the best clean at Easy Clean Car Wash.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
Hey, it's 7:33 in the region. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. It's cool that he makes himself accessible. It's nice that at least one of us has his phone number. He hasn't. I haven't gotten his. That's fine. I don't really need his number. It's probably for the best.
I gave him yours, but
okay. Well, thanks. He's like, here, just throw. If this number ever calls you.
I thought we were on a group thread at one point.
No, I hope not. Okay, so anyway, let's take a quick look at traffic. Traffic is surprisingly light for Monday. Not much going on here in the region. 8094, 65, Skyway Toll Road, everything moving along great. On the Illinois side, Bishop Ford looking good. Dan Ryan, usual slowdown on the way to downtown. Other than that, things looking good. We had an earlier incident to report at LaGuardia. So if you're heading to the airports today, we've got long lines because of TSA. And then also if you're heading out east, you've got a lot of cancellations because of an incident involving a plane and a fire truck at LaGuardia. So other than that, things looking good in traffic. And here to do weather, Liam Starkey.
Hey, Northwest Region. I don't know if my mic is on.
You're good.
You're good.
Hey, welcome Northwest Region. I am Liam Starkey, and this is my weather report about me, and that's me up right there. Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Read right there.
Currently in Hammond, it is like 31 degrees. Today you can expect a high of 39 degrees and a low of 30 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow you'll see a high of like 53 and degrees and a low of 28 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Wednesday we are looking at a high of 65 degrees and a low of 38 with cloudy skies. And there's like a 45% chance of rain on Thursday, and this weekend it'll be like in the mid 30s, 50s, and mostly sunny.
Well, good job, buddy.
Now you're going to say, and now back to more. And now you say more. Back to more. What is it called? Spring chucking.
Spring
chucking with Chuck and my dad. Say back, and now back to more spring chucking.
Back to more spring chucking.
Thank you.
Good
Excellent job. That's fantastic. So what are we doing now? Is he?
He's going to go off.
No,
off
well, he
screen
can
there.
eat some lemon pound cake too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want. If not, you can hang. We'll just leave this here. You can go hang out. We'll do traffic and weather again.
The best part of this
every
right
20
now
minutes or so
is watching Becca try not to get on camera. She's calling Liam off the screen.
No, I just got what that's not cool. No, when that just sent me a text, she said, "I'm calling the child labor people." That's not cool.
Oh, I'll never forget when I said, "Hey, we're going to be Liam." She's like, "Well, I didn't authorize that." It was a whole thing. Yeah, I did bring her Ruffles chips though a while ago.
Is that her thing?
That's her thing. For those of you out there now, there's going to be some weird folks out there that are like, she's going to get boxes of Ruffles
Do you like
chips.
the weird ones that have come out lately?
No, I just use the plain ones to dip in jalapeno dip that I make.
Okay. So I've been seeing all kinds of weird flavors. I'm like, do we really? Is that? It's kind of like you guys
Kinda
were
like
talking.
the Oreos.
Well, you guys were talking about beer the other day with Brett. You guys were talking about the pumpkin beer and stuff, and like chips are doing the same thing. They have like peppermint chips and stuff like that. I'm like, no, we don't need that. We're good with just salt and vinegar. But okay, so I what are we doing? We taking some calls? We got people waiting.
Yeah, let's
have
take
no
some
callers.
We have no
callers.
Okay, well that's cool. That's fine. That's fine. Just fine.
So let's. So now that we're absent of callers, we've got 20 some odd minutes before we gotta take another break. Tell us about this lemon pound cake, Chuck.
I was just about to eat some.
I'm sorry, he was mid bite, like when you're at a restaurant and they only come by when you've got your mouth full of food and ask if you need something.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I get text messages occasionally when I have like a cough drop or I'm chewing a piece of gum. What are you doing on air? And Chuck is, 2 knuckles deep into this lemon pound cake.
Okay, so this was in honor of the new American hero, Afro Man. So Afro Man, there's so much to talk about and so much I can't talk about on the radio. So essentially, back in August of 22, the Adams County Sheriff, they basically they busted down his gate, they busted down his door, they came barging into his house because somebody claimed that that he had drugs and there was a kidnapping and all sorts of things. And so luckily for him, he had a bunch of cameras in his house and he filmed the whole raid. So after that, he created a song called Lemon Pound Cake, where he talked about the sheriff that was eyeing his mama's lemon pound cake while they were raiding his house, going through his suit pockets looking for this kidnapping victim. And so later on, he kept pushing it further. He did a couple of very satirical songs about some of the people that were involved in the raid, and they eventually sued him for that. That case took place last week, and an Ohio jury ruled in favor of Afro Man, finding him not liable in a defamation suit filed by the 7 Adams County Sheriff's deputies. They claimed humiliation from his use of footage showing their 2022 raid on his home. So this becomes one of those stories. And again, you can be all the back of the blue and things that you want, but there are times when government, believe it or not, can be a little heavy-handed. And this is one of those cases where, for whatever reason, they decided to target Afro Man, whose real name is Joseph Foreman. And they, raided his house under some sketchy pretenses. And so he hit back at them with the only thing he knew how to do, which was using his rap and using, his music. And so he hit them pretty hard. I mean, I would almost say he went a little too far with it, but he got the point across. They sued him for defamation and he was victorious. So in honor of Afro Man, I made a lemon pound cake this weekend. But, that becomes a thing when we talk about when government oversteps their bounds. What do we as citizens do? What can we do? And this is one of those things that, I've spent many years on these airwaves talking about, here in the region and things like that during COVID. I was thinking about over the weekend, Sam Michael and I spent most of COVID just kind of getting together on Mondays and talking about, here's the latest news. Is it, what's real, what's not, sort of helping, just talking about government. We obviously, like here in Hammond, we had the case of the church that received a ticket for having an Easter celebration. And I mean, again, people that were getting arrested for going to the beach in, California. And again, this is one of those things that I've always said, that there are times there's nothing wrong with, again, backing the government and supporting the police and all. That's great. But there are times that they are human. They make mistakes and they do things. And this is one of those cases where the guy literally just said, you guys they broke down his door. They broke his gate. He said, reimburse me for my door. You broke down my door and you didn't find anything. Pay me back, fix my door. And they said no. And so he fought back and he was victorious. So kudos to him. So I mean, what are your thoughts on this case? Did you follow it? We got callers. You guys following this? I mean, what are your thoughts? Again, you find yourself as a councilman. I always say it's interesting when people are critical of the police. I say, well, who are their bosses? Your government, and who are their bosses? Well, you are. So it's kind of like these things when people are critical of the police or defund the police. It's like, well, they are just they work for you. They work for government who works for you, supposedly. So, it's sort of like, why are you criticizing somebody? Why aren't you trying to fix the system?
I didn't. It wasn't until after the trial was over, and I've said this a dozen times. I get most of my news, admittedly, through social media and through memes. And when I find something funny, I then go, I back investigate it to see, hey, what's real, what's not. I had no clue what this case was, what the story was, and they broke in. They did all the things that he said. Did he take it too far? I don't know. I mean, he does what he does in response to the police doing what they did. It certainly got some attention, and at the end, he was acquitted of everything. If I'm not
right,
mistaken.
He was acquitted of defamation. But I mean, his argument in court, because it was playing out live on television. You can go back and watch the court. I mean, the best part about this was they would keep saying, "Don't you think that you took this too far? Why did you attack?" We said, we wouldn't even know who each other. I wouldn't even know who they were if they didn't break down my door. And that was his argument from the beginning. They said, "Well, don't you feel bad for humiliating this woman?" I said, "Well, did she feel bad when they came into my home with AR-15s and threatened my children?" I mean, his responses, here he is wearing his big, red, white, and blue suit. I mean, again, this is the sort of thing that I want to see more of, is this pushback of, why did you do this? Well, because they did it to me. Why didn't you take this too far? Well, I wouldn't even know who they were if they didn't break down my door. Right. I mean, that's sort of the thing is, in a free society, we should have the ability to push back when we are wronged, and he was clearly wrong. He just, even in his songs, he said, did you find that kidnapping victim in my CD case? Did you find that kidnapping victim in my suit pockets? You're looking for a kidnapping victim and you're going through my stuff? Like what, you know, I mean, it was obvious that it was sort of a fishing expedition on false pretenses.
So the lemon pound cake, I don't think we can play the song.
We can't play any of it. No.
Well, do yourself a favor and go find them out on the interwebs. They're entertaining, but
or you can go see him. He'll be in Lafayette on tomorrow. You can go down to Lafayette and get some Triple X root beer and a burger, and then go see Afro Man. But again, you know, kudos to him for fighting back, because far too many people just sort of let the government push them around and they don't fight back. And this was a great story of a guy who used his skills and his talents to push back. To fight back. So
and now you said this is the first lemon pound cake did you make this or did Amy make it?
I made this. Luke and I are the ones that cook in our house. So Luke helped me make this. We went and bought a bundt pan. We learned how to do this. I think it's very lemony, which is what I was going for. But bundt cake's a little tricky, as it turns out. It takes a while to cook, and you got to let it, breathe and flip it over. And
I have to say, for those of you hearing it, it's surprisingly good. And I don't want surprisingly to be an insult, like, oh, I'm surprised Chuck made it. I'm not a lemon fan, so yeah, it's pretty good.
And then Lynette's just like, whatever.
I am gonna get. I hate lemon, but so that better be good. But
I don't do lemon. I like lemon fragrances, but I'm not a lemon eater of things. But surprisingly good. I mean, it would be gone right now if I weren't on the air.
Okay, well, let's take some callers. So I don't know, maybe we can give away some lemon pound cake to the first 5 callers or something like that if you're going to stop by.
All of a sudden, all the calls dump out right now.
Everybody just hangs up. Okay, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Chuck, did you make that from scratch, or is that from like a Duncan Hines?
No, I absolutely made this from complete scratch. It's like, seriously, short of milling the flour myself, I made this from absolute scratch.
Yeah, I gotta say, it is really good. Yeah,
I followed the official Afro Man.
Did you make your own lemon zest?
Oh yes, yeah. Luke,
did you make lemon zest for it?
Luke zested the lemons and everything. Yeah, he was supposed to use half, and he used 2 lemons instead.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, we zested the lemons and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, no, we made it from scratch. It's fun to do.
Yeah, well, good job, Chuck. Congratulations. Hey, listen, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Afro Man. It sounds a little to the insane side, but
it is.
If you need to kill a little time there, what I suggest is you bring Liam back in there. The kid's doing great. And then you have Mailbox Matlocks called back in. And you have a spelling quiz between those two. I got 500 on the kid, no doubt. And you can start out with the first word being watermelon.
Oh, come on.
Then you can go with racism, Trump, and then Gary. I'll put Madlock down for 1 out of 3. I'll put 1 out of 4. I'll put Liam down for 4 out of 4.
Okay. Is that all you got?
Liam is surprisingly pro Gary in that he loves the Railcats.
He does. He goes to more Railcats games than anybody I know.
He does. So in his context is Gary is the Railcat. So it might be a little skewed as his perception of that. But for that, I don't know. A couple acres of real estate there.
You got him in a helmet and a flak jacket, and you take him over there in a tank. Hey, have you mentioned Purdue making a Sweet 16 yet, Chuck? Chuck, do you even know what the NCAA tournament is?
Here's what I know. Somebody asked me this weekend about Somebody asked me this weekend about my bracket. I said my bracket is $39 trillion in debt. That's my bracket is busted. It's $39 trillion in debt. I know that something about Purdue, something about Butler. I don't know. Does Gonzaga do any? I like just Gonzaga. Butler. Is Gonzaga doing anything?
There are people that love this time of year just so they can say Gonzaga.
No, I know like Villanova and Gonzaga. And
the only reason you know those two places
it's just because cool.
I know nothing
Syracuse?
About the madness. It doesn't.
I heard you saying how great the radio is. I assumed you're talking about us, but he's like, no, the games are great. He's like, this is the best time on WJOB, but he's talking about the games.
No, not you two Ozempic brothers. You guys kidding me? Come on now. Yeah, listen, so Purdue made the Sweet 16.
Hang on one second.
Say that
One
again.
second. As you were saying Ozempic, I'm shoveling this cake in my mouth. So that would just found that
What
to be
a
funny.
shock! I can see
Yeah,
it.
I know, right?
Oh, hey, you know what you can play on the radio though? You can play the Van Halen song called "Pound Cake," which is absolutely a fantastic song with Sammy Hagar on lead vocals. That's a great song. Go right with your pound cake. But I'll tell you what though, I'll outdo you one. So let's say in a couple of weeks, what I'll make for you guys, only if you bring Liam back in because he makes the show. I'll make you what I've made twice now, and I hate using the term to die for, but it is literally that good. It's a cranberry orange cheesecake pound cake.
Okay.
And
I'm
it
in.
is spectacular.
Well, you know where we're located.
We do need to have like a WJOB bake-off, cook-off, picnic, barbecue. Now that we have our own parking lot, we can do that.
Oh, we
I
really
know because
should.
what do you make, chicken or something like that? We can have like a big barbecue outside. We'll just shut down the streets.
Dude, I made chicken for my mother last night. She didn't even like watching the basketball games, but she's like, "I'll watch anything if you keep making this chicken." Yeah, grilled smoked chicken, barbecue sauce on it, little garlic parm on a couple of them. Oh man, it came out so good, it's unbelievable. But
Okay.
anyway, good show. And hey, Liam, get back on that desk. Shove those two goofballs out of the way, and just start your own little talk show. But like I said, I got 100 on you, Liam. You take on Matlock mailbox and make me some money, will you, brother?
He'll be back on at 8 for the weather, so you get to see him one more time today.
Okay, so let's take appreciate the call. I just say that. I say that because we just say it. So, okay, let's take some calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, last Friday I was listening in, and they featured the guy who owns and operates a smokehouse in Dyer.
Yeah, Brett,
And,
Brett, as we like to call him, even though his name is Brent, but we call him Brett now. And I actually, I did stop in. Have you been there, Walt? I stopped in Friday night, and I had some of the brisket fries.
So we went Friday also. Dad, Liam, and I, Becca and the girls were out doing their thing. And evidently, right after we left, you went there. A guy in Dyer, Kyle Rizzo went there. A bunch of people were at Doc's.
Yeah, we
Friday
heard you
night.
left, and we all stopped by.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, Walt.
Yeah, well, I went there for lunch because he had announced that it was half price
wings,
wings and pig wings as well. That piqued my curiosity, and so I showed up and I bought an order of pig wings and an order of chicken wings, and I preferred the chicken wings. They're really excellent, and but I would say if you're a carnivore, those deep fried ribs, which is what they call the pig wings, that was an interesting treat. And but in any case, I think the service was excellent, plenty of parking, and I think especially the pig wings are really made from the perspective of eating those things with beer. Now I because of my age and I take a ton of meds, I don't drink any alcohol because it tends to affect the meds. But I had a Diet Coke. But I would say that a nice cold glass of beer would go perfectly with the pig wings and the chicken wings. Have you tried either one of those?
I definitely want to try those next. They sound delicious. So
I think I've tried just about everything at Doc's. Doc's is maybe 4 minutes away from my house. We go there fairly often, and yes, I do enjoy most things. The pig wings are good. Chicken. As soon as you said half price, I said chicken wings because that's what I went there for. And I think what they do is I think they smoke them until they're cooked, and then they flash fry them, and I don't know, some combination of that is what makes them different and good.
Well, they had the special deal on Friday because of the basketball. But I asked the staff, I said, is this a regular Friday thing? And they said, no, this is just for the basketball tournaments, but they said the wings are half price on Wednesday, and they mentioned the pig wings were half price on another day. So check it out and give it a try. And after at half price, I mean, it was a steal. I mean, yeah, if you were a carnivore, you got more than your fair share. I ate a couple of the wings, and I ate some of the pig wings, and took the rest home. And I ate on them for lunch for 2 days after that. And it's still, I ate it warm at the restaurant, and then at home they were cold, and it was still excellent to eat.
Hey, do you have any thoughts on the lieutenant governor's conversation? So he was talking a little bit about, so he'll be here in town on Wednesday at Purdue for an event there. But we talked a little bit about we have a foreclosure. We found out that in February Indiana led the country in foreclosures, and there's just a lot going on economically. And my argument has always been it goes back to that debt. It goes back to spending. And, it doesn't really, it doesn't really matter here in the state. Obviously, it's important to have a balanced budget, but really, even a state like Indiana that's fiscally conservative has a balanced budget. We are at the mercy of, Washington politics ultimately.
Right. Especially with the heavy industry and strategic industry we have here with the steel and oil refineries. And so I called in and listen, I thought you would open the door to some questions. And the thing that piqued my interest was his comment that every month they have a brown bag lunch with all the top officials of the Republican administration in Indy. And I intended to say to him, at the next brown bag thing, and I don't think you talk to Trump, but I think the governor does on a regular basis, and just pass on to Trump that I was an early Trump supporter, although I can't consider myself a MAGA. But I wish some of those unforced errors he'd drop. I mean, the latest is the Prime Minister of Japan, who's a great. I watched the Japanese news and over local public television. She is smashing. I mean, I wish she's one of our best allies. And he embarrassed her by bringing up the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Come on, please stop that. Or go back in the early days of his second term. He humiliated the Prime Minister of Canada. All that did was there was a conservative running for Prime Minister in Canada, and he was ahead 20%. That kind of stuff ended up destroying the campaign of the conservative. He does, for example, the Gulf of Mexico. It's to rename it the Gulf of America. I mean, it's been Gulf of Mexico for hundreds of years, and when you want support from the Hispanic community, why would you do that? My point is, he does. On the big issues, he's right on. Getting our European allies to pay for their fair share of NATO, the tariffs. That's been a long-standing problem since the end of the Second World War. The deals on tariffs was given to countries that had been damaged by the Second World War to help them get back on their feet, faced with the Soviet threat and so forth. But there was a time, probably by 1950, it was time to say enough. You got all the benefit. Your economies are roaring like crazy. You're going to have to give up the tariff deal, which is disadvantaging American workers and business people. So he got that right. But he does, things around the edges that just undermines his ability to deal with the big stuff.
Right.
And,
I get it. Right.
My word to him, to Michael, was tell your governor, tell Trump, knock off the cheap crap.
See, here's the thing, though, Walt. I think that 95% of Republicans agree with you, but I don't think any of them really would be willing to say that to his face. I think most of them, I mean, and it's unfortunate because I think there are people that have told him, hey, maybe dial it back. And I don't think he takes that well, would be my guess.
He doesn't, but not the specific comment about Japan or the specific comment about Robert Mueller, but that bombastic nature that he has, that is really what helped propel him in the end of 15 through the campaign of 16. That's what opened the door for him. People liked that brash style. Now, I would agree. Most of us are like, oh, come on, dude, why you got to say that? Or why do you have to say it like that? But I think that's just part of the Trump's persona. But
essentially the argument is if he had dialed it back, he wouldn't be president, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, that's sort of the argument, but also there is this balance of...
I don't believe that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying is that even,
He could be bombastic in a different way.
Right, but I'm saying even, I think about like that debate with Hillary where he said you should be in jail and things like that, where it's like, look, that played, that's the kind of thing that got him elected.
That was okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that's, you have to pick and choose, but he's sort of, again, being this sort of unfiltered guy, he says what comes to his mind and he never really dials it back and said, well, maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have said that. That never happens.
And I guess to the point of these last two incidents with the Pearl Harbor comment, the Robert Mueller comment, they never really last too long because
he says something else.
I was going to say it's a new day, and
right.
He will say something by the end of the week that we're talking about next Monday, and we will entirely forget. And I don't know if that's good or bad that he's got a treasure trove of things that's like, to your point, why do you have to say it like that or in that phrasing? Because it is a turnoff, even for those folks that agree with what he's saying. It's a turnoff of how he says it.
Okay, but it is 8 o'clock, Walt, so we have to take a break. Go ahead, finish your thought, and we got to go.
There are independents for whom that matters, and very often it's the independents who decide the election. Those are very sensitive voters. They go back and forth, and that's what they latch on to. Faux pas like that. Going after Hillary, that's fair game. Fair game, no problem at all.
And that's the argument, though, is that those independents, they're going to be paying $4 and $5 for gas. That's the kind of stuff that they pay attention to. At the end of the day, the last time they paid for gas is what's going to help. That's for a lot of those independents. That's what's going to decide the election is how much gas prices are the week before they go to vote. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
Well, that just falls under it's the economy, stupid.
Right. But okay, well, we got to take a break. So I appreciate the call as always. So let's take a break. We'll be back with traffic and weather with Liam after this.
It's gold rush time at Albert's. Oh, looky here. Oh, those are going to fetch a pretty penny.
Who's going down from us?
I'll buy that gold from you.
What did you say?
I said I'll buy that gold from you, and I'll give you top dollar.
That sounds great.
It's gold rush time. We will see you at Albert's.
For over 140 years, the Central Midwest Carpenters have built our communities in Northwest Indiana. Are you ready to join the effort? We have long-term work, competitive pay, and the best benefits in the industry. We pride ourselves on innovative training and commitment to worksite safety. Earn as you learn as an apprentice. A solid career built on a solid legacy. For more info, go to carpenters.com.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
Planting a tree, installing a fence, whether your project is big or small, NIPSCO reminds you to know what's below and contact 811 at least 2 full business days before doing any digging so that utility companies can mark the location of their underground lines. Contacting 811 is free and it's the law. Avoid possible penalties, costly repairs, or injuries. DIY or a pro, safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
Hey, it's 8:04. Let's take a quick look at
as you do that, I don't know that we've done station ID the entire day.
I literally just did it when Walt was on the phone. I said it's 8:01. We got to. Did I not? I said it's 8:01. Okay, I'll do it again. It's 8:04. You're listening to AM 1230, 104.7 FM in beautifully rustic Hammond, Indiana. We are your voice and vase of the region. You happy now?
I am.
Well, but that's a producer's job to be like legal ID. I know I did it. I know I did it when I was on the phone with Walt.
You know who never drops that on her lap? T-Dabs.
Okay.
that my left. Okay, you can do traffic now.
Thank you. Would you like to do traffic? Do you want to ever just say everything's good? No? Okay.
Oh, no.
It's pretty easy. Just look and say, okay, so here in Indiana, things looking good. 80, 94, 65, Skyway Toll Road, everything looking great. On the Illinois side, Bishop Ford and Dan Ryan doing surprisingly light. Not much traffic at the moment. Everything else looking good in Illinois. We had an earlier incident at LaGuardia, so if you're flying out of Midway or O'Hare, especially if you're heading out east, check your flights. Get there early because the TSA lines are getting longer. And so with that, let's take a look at weather with our local weather reporter, Liam Starkey.
Hello, region. My name is Liam Starkey, and I'm your weather report guider. Currently in Hammond, it is like 31 degrees. Today, you can expect a high of like 39 degrees and a low of 30 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow you'll see like a high of 53 and a low of 28 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Wednesday we are looking at like a high of 65 and a low of 38 with cloudy skies. There's a 45% chance of rain on Thursday, and this weekend looks like we'll be in the mid-50s and mostly sunny.
All right, thanks, buddy.
And you say, and now back to the show.
Now back to the show.
Well, I got some good news. Here's the thing, though, before you go. When I how I got my start in broadcast? I was doing the weather when I was at Lake Central. They called me Weatherman Chuck. And that's how I got my start, doing exactly. So someday
you'll be sitting right here.
This will all be yours. Someday you'll be here talking about politics and bombing people and the debt. The debt that'll be $800 trillion by then. But no, this could be your thing, because this is how I got my start as Weatherman Chuck. So you're on the right path. So
good job, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day, and thank you all for indulging me in that. It is spring break, and back during Christmas break, I had Liam on the Christmas show that I did, and he thought that was pretty cool. And so he's been asking to come back. Well, he's in school all the time, as those of you who watch the Friday show know. We send him off with his spelling words. And so for about a month and a half now, he's like, can I go? And I thought, okay, spring break, we're here on Monday. You can come in and eat up some airtime. So thank you, everybody.
I was going to ask him about the debt and the affordability crisis, but I figured maybe we'll save that for his next visit.
He doesn't know anything about debt or affordability stuff.
Well, see, that's the problem.
Not unlike most. A
good parent, here's what you need to do. You need to do that thing where you tell him, hey, clean your room, and I'll give you ice cream. And then after he cleans his room and you give him the ice cream, you take half of it and go, well, that's the ice cream tax. And then that's how you teach him about taxes. And then you give it to somebody else. You take half of his ice cream, give it to somebody else.
He's well aware of the dad tax.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, we do have a little bit of breaking news. We're talking about Iran. So President Trump has announced that he's delaying strikes on Iranian power plants after very good talks on ending the war. Trump says he held productive conversations with Tehran. He's basically like, hey, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter. Like, Ayatollah, where are you?
One of the Ayatollahs.
Like, I'm his cousin. Like, where are you? Like, it doesn't. I mean, could you imagine talking to the president? Right? Like good. I mean, kudos.
As they're all turning location services off on their iPhones.
Right, like they're three-way calling. You're like, we're calling through my cousin in Geneva. But, okay, so the president's saying he held productive conversations. And I hope that's the case because, again, historically, we create these quagmires. And, gas is already $4 a gallon here. Truckers are already talking about gas. I mean, that becomes, again, it's the economy stupid. You have high gas prices. We're going into the summer blend and all that nonsense. I mean, this is the kind of thing that, people are already asking me about their 401ks and stuff like that. The markets are opening. Oh, Jesus, man, I missed that. Okay. On the way here, the market was down about 0.5%. It was down 1%, like 2% last week. The market has just jumped 2% on the news of the productive Iranian talks. So for those of you that were worried about your 401k, I hope you, and I literally over the weekend, I literally posted, Bob. I said, buy the dip. Did I not? I said, buy the dip.
You did, Chuck.
I didn't. Nobody listens to me. I said, buy the dip. The market is up, like the SPY is up $12. It's up nearly 2% just on that news. So everybody was worried about your 401k. So far, so good. We've basically recovered last week's losses, open here in about 20 minutes, and we'll see if that holds. But the productive discussions having a positive effect on the market. So we're good there. So you take a breath on that. So let's take some phone calls. Good morning. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Brett. How are you guys doing?
It's hi Brett. How are you?
Brett.
Brett. I answer just about anything.
So what's on your mind, buddy?
We were talking about your great food this morning.
Well, I know. I just heard that. I wanted to say thank you. Thanks for coming by. If you come by, I was here all day on Friday, so you got to ask your server, and I'll come speak to you. A lot of times I'm in the back.
Honestly, though,
when we left on Friday, I didn't say goodbye, and I thought that was rude. But you were. It was by the time we left, it was really starting to hop in there, and you were in and out of the kitchen. I'm not going to bother you. But we had a great time.
I'll be honest, though. I honestly, as good as your food is, I needed an old fashioned, and I'm like, who's got a good old fashioned? Brett. So I stopped by your restaurant specifically for the old fashioned, which was fantastic, and I got some of those. I got the fries, which were fantastic as well.
Good deal. Well, and I appreciate everybody talking about the food, but I wanted to call and talk about Afro.
Oh, fantastic. Well, so do I. You're missing what are you having lemon pound cake today? I'll send you the recipe. Why don't you guys serve some lemon pound cake?
On that note, in all of the culinary arts, baking is the most difficult.
Absolutely.
Like people that are really good pastry chefs, they're like crazy scientists.
Right.
There's such a chemistry component to it that's different than any other kind of cooking. So I'm impressed with your.
Well, and here's the thing, you know as much as I do. Like when you cook, like when you're whatever you're doing, you're barbecuing, you're doing whatever. Everything is very forgiving. I always tell people, I said just add double the seasonings, and then they add too much salt. But I say, but cooking itself is very forgiving. What is not forgiving is baking. Like you could make cookies 100 times and they never turn out the same. Like I can make them the exact same way every time and they turn out differently. Same with this cake, making a bun cake. As it turns out, I'm trying to get it moist and fluffy and all this stuff. I'm trying to get it out of the pan. There's a whole science to just like how long to wait to get it out of the pan so it doesn't break. Like, man, yeah, cooking is very forgiving. Baking, not so much.
Ooh.
Did we lose you?
Hold on. I'm turning off the alarm. I just got to work.
Oh.
It's about to go off. Oh, great.
Call it. Send a text to the chief. So don't worry about it. You're on the phone with us.
Yeah, they'll call me in a second. I'll have to go. But before this thing goes off, there it goes.
This makes for great radio, by the way.
No, the alarm going off. So we were talking last week with Trucker Mike because his smoke alarm was.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to have to go because wait. I have to answer this phone call when they call.
No, three-way call. Hit the button. Merge us. Merge us in.
Merge us in. Can you imagine? We'll just start screaming obscenities. We're in the back.
I've been kidnapped by Afro Man.
He's going to dump the call.
I think he hung up. Okay.
I think he did.
Yeah,
Anyways,
just start. This crazy guy kidnapped us. He's holding us in the cooler.
In the cooler. But we've got great food. So
But the
maybe
food is
wait
good.
an hour.
So-
But maybe wait
so-
an hour.
So
before
come
you can do
whenever.
it.
It's no. Just at some point, come get us out. But the food's good. Okay, let's take a call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Bob.
What you got?
Bob. Hey, between you and me, keep this on the down low.
Okay, I won't say anything.
All right, just between you and me. In reference to this Mad Max High Noon Showdown, this vocabulary thing.
Yeah.
Between Liam, hold on. Between Liam and Matlock, I've been given 3 of the words. I'm trying to help Liam. First word is turf. The second word, turble. The third word, hold on, I'm giving another one. I may have 4 for you. The third word is axe. And hold on, I'm just getting this fourth. What is it? Orange. Turble, turf, axe, and orange. Liam, good luck, man. If you need something, I'll call back if I get another one. Take care, bud.
Yeah, when we do our spelling stuff on Fridays here, I see the looks on some of the folks in studio here. I really think Liam would whoop most of us in a spelling test. He's surprisingly good. I don't know if turble's a word, though. But you know what is? Delicious. And that's what this lemon pound cake is.
Thank you. Lynette, did you try some?
I was going to say, let's talk.
She ate like all of it already. That must have been good for somebody who doesn't like lemon.
I can't eat this part. It's going to be too sweet.
The crunchy part?
Yeah.
That's the best part.
The crunchy part's the best part. Trust the fat guys.
Eat that last.
Yeah.
Save it for later.
Yeah, that's what we call the nucleus.
No, that's like pure confectioner sugar and lemon poured onto the crunchy crust of this thing. That was the part I worked on the most.
That was high praise. She said
Yeah.
she doesn't like lemon.
And she ate it. So, okay, let's take a call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. You know, I got to bring this up because the news cycle moves so fast. If I let it pass, next week it's going to be on to something else, and Trump's horrible, Trump's horrible, Trump's horrible. Then you'll hear the rest of the week, Trump's horrible. So I heard some somewhat callers that somewhat made sense this morning, but I just want to let them know the way this is going. What's in the news right now, and I brought this up in the past when it comes to immigration, I stated one of your heroes on the left was Cesar Chavez. But I also said on these airways, if you listen to his words, he was always against illegal immigration people working in the fields, because he stated in 1974 that it's killing the wages of the farm workers who are American citizens in this country. And I said, they're going to get them, they're going to get them, they're going to get them. There's allegations that he did sexually inappropriate things with his number 2 person, and I don't dispute that. I don't deny that. I'm not making any justification for that. But I'm saying to myself, Walt touches on this all the time about the Marxists. The lieutenant governor touched on it. The Marxists, they'll throw anybody under the bus that they have as long as it moves the mission forward. It's like the military. It's all about the mission. Don't you find that funny? After 30-some odd years of being dead, now all of a sudden those words in which he said, I am for the worker, I am for the farm worker. It's 1974. You could look it up on Google. You listen to him. If you listen to him, you would swear to God that he's a conservative Republican. Just listen to
Well,
it.
just like Bill
Tell me
Clinton or
I'm
anybody
crazy.
like that. I mean, the same thing if you listen to
Exactly.
Bill Clinton's speech from 30 years ago. Okay, well, so here becomes a question. I was thinking about this over the weekend because I was reading an article. They were talking about, sort of cities that are losing population. They were talking about, so it was talking specifically about Illinois and losing population. It was sort of like, well, Illinois is losing population, but it's not that bad because there's a lot of people immigrating to Illinois. And then even going back to your point about farming, I was listening to a podcast over the weekend. There's this great guy named Zach Land. He is running for governor in Iowa. And he was talking about, he's a 6th-generation farmer. He was talking about sort of big ag and the agricultural business and, them edging out the small farmers and all this stuff. And it's sort of this idea of, because of the mechanization, what's that called? Mechanization.
That's it.
Because of mechanization, you basically have these $1 million tractors that do all the work for them and stuff like that. This idea that, we're trying to eliminate the need for labor-intensive agriculture, and sort of it becomes this question of, okay, you've got a bunch of people coming in, you don't need as much agriculture, all these people are moving to some of the most expensive cities in the country, New York, LA, Chicago. What are people going to do? I mean, regardless of who's legal, who's not, imagine, and he was talking about this idea that 100 plus years ago, somebody who was essentially poor could just pick up a farm and start farming. Well, you can't do that today because you need $1 million tractors and things like that. It's just like when you hear guys, you always hear these stories about, well, my grandfather came here and he started a little store in Hammond or Whiting. Now it costs $1 million to start a store, right? I mean, what do you do when you come to this country? Like how it's just like we talk about the young people that they get started and, everything's so expensive. Like, how does somebody come to this country and do anything to get their foundation to start doing things when everything is just so expensive? Like, what are people going to do? And that's sort of my big question is, it's great that people are moving to Chicago. What are they going to do? They can't start a little business. They can't start a restaurant. You're not going to get $1 million loan to start a family restaurant. Like, what are people going to do for work in these cases?
Well, you know what they do in other countries, which we used to do here? They start their own business. I.e., I've been to Mexico many times. I've been to Europe many times. I've been to other downtrodden, quote-unquote, countries. You know what the average individual is doing? A lot of them are working for themselves. To your point, specifically, even locally, we used to have, quote-unquote, we're so into regulation, right? We used to have locally independent cab companies locally. But guess what? It got so doggone expensive locally. That's why you have certain communities where they don't have it anymore. But see, God forbid, and Shelby Steele and Walter Williams, economists on the right, they wrote about this years ago. They talked about regulation, how regulation is killing business. But when we bring it up, I even hear it locally, and I don't want to mention the communities, but I hear people say, why isn't it so-and-so in our community is not working at or owns these gas stations? Guess what? They used to. But see, regulation is what killed, quote-unquote, your community. And the more people look to government, government creates a problem, and then you look to government to fix the problem in which they created. You see what I'm saying? And it's so frustrating for those of us on the right. We bring it up, and then it's like you're anti. I brought up immigration. I'm pro-immigration. I believe we need more immigrants, but we need more immigrants that look to this country as in a situation where it's about assimilating. It's not about forgetting anybody's culture. It's just like the communities of Gary Hammond, East Chicago. Why is it so many of those communities had churches that were tied to the ethnic immigration of those communities? Because they wanted to assimilate. They wanted to do right. They wanted to make a life better for themselves. Now we have people in general where if you question anything, you're anti. Listen to radio. I beg you, listen to this station. I don't know how much more conservatives could say we're pro-immigration, but yet what is portrayed? You're anti-immigration. You're anti-teacher. You're anti-this, which is nonsense. But it keeps getting repeated over and over and over. And then what's the old saying? The first casualty of war is the truth. And the left see this situation as a total war, i.e. the Cesar Chavez thing. They don't care who they sacrifice. You're going down. But like I said, please listen to the words of which he stated in 1974. It's on the internet. But you point this out to people, Trump bad, Trump bad. You know, I wish Theodore would have a podcast. He's talking about podcasts. Why don't you have all these people that say Trump sucks and just put it on there, and so they can all talk, and the theme of our subject is going to be Trump sucks. And the rest of us who'd like to talk issues, different issues, could have a situation in talk radio where I say something, you say it back. To me, podcasts is just telling me your great ideas, okay? I mean, no disrespect to anybody on this station. I'm not going to listen to anybody for 3 hours just talking to yourself, okay? No disrespect to all of you guys.
I'll just go home then. That's cool. I'll go home. That's fine. You just I'll open the phone lines.
But you interject, Chuck. I'm saying you're not a podcast. A podcast is just you yapping. You're interjecting thoughts. That's why Kuziak and Burley aren't all about
yapping with
podcasts.
Chuck.
They know deep down.
Well, okay, here.
They know deep down.
Let me bring it back a little bit. So it was interesting over the weekend. I posted this about CNN, that in the same weekend, CNN posted two stories. One was Americans overwhelmingly support voter ID, 95% Republicans, 71% of Democrats. And then in the same weekend, they posted an article that says MAGA says the Save America Act is crucial. A new poll shows Americans don't agree. So in the same weekend, CNN posted two articles that contradicted themselves. But I said, think of the genius of CNN. They've catered to both sides, and nobody's calling them out and going, wait a second, didn't you just yesterday put out an article that contradicts today's article?
Nobody calls them out. And the best is when you see oftentimes when they have those type of articles, the 180 ones, it's the same writer.
But you have to go down to the very bottom of the article to get the facts of always like, hey, can you link that article to, can you link this data to me so I can look at it independently? But I mean, again, think of the genius of media is they're playing both sides, and both sides like, okay, I like, I agree with that story, so I'm going to click on it. I don't agree with that story, so I'm not going to click on it. So when you talk about the truth has become so subjective in our media. It's basically like, hey, well, which side do you want? It's sort of like my joke during the election is I was on Facebook and there's all these guys that were trying to sell anti-Trump shirts. And then Facebook started marketing anti-Biden t-shirts. And I went down the rabbit hole. Guess what? Same guys were selling both. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's the genius of it.
But in fairness, Chuck, I know you guys aren't sports guys, but let's face it, even the women in sports, you talk to 99.9% of people outside of politics, they get it. They all get it. But yet you get on talk radio, you listen to the people, the talking heads, you would act like it's a divisive issue. But deep down, it's not divisive. I brought this up to Kuziak all the time. These people call up and they love the good old days. I say, Kuziak, if we were to walk 1975, walk into any watering hole, an area with 99% Democrat. And I said, I believe a man should play in a woman's sport. Which percent of these areas, these diehard Democrat areas, would say, yeah, you're right. I think a man should play in a woman's sport. I guarantee they probably think I'm nuts. But yet, you get on the airways, we talk about it, and the worst, I'll tell you the truth, the worst liberal people are sports people, announcers. They're the worst. Talk to Dan Dockett sometime. Not Tom, Dan. I know you're not sports guys. He's not a leftist.
No, I follow him on social media. Yeah, he definitely is not.
He'll tell you sport, and it's amazing to me because sports, I know I'm not getting into sport, but it's all about the best. So why are you guys who, especially Division I college and forward, I'm not talking about high school, you're all about the best. So why are so many of you people in sports media, why are so many of you people left? It makes no sense to me. And this is why the Heartland Sports, be careful, my son, Michael, be careful, because the left, they'll infiltrate that as well. And it's bizarre. It just makes no sense.
I don't think Sam's going to let that happen if I know Sam. But,
right.
Okay, we do need to go, though, so we need to wrap up. Appreciate the call. We have one more caller? We have one more? Okay, let's take the last caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. You get the rebuttal.
Let me ask you this. No, I ain't no rebuttal to what he says. I think we need to stop. That's his opinion, okay? Basically, you like to travel? You like to vacation?
Bob loves vacations.
I love traveling.
Me, not so much. I enjoy Sweet Home Indiana.
Okay. I like to travel too, and we talking about each other, but I'm just talking about this thing right now. I checked on an air flight round trip from Midway to Florida, and it's almost double in terms of that. So I can afford it because I live pretty comfortably, rather than some of these people who call it on this radio who ain't got a pot to piss in. I'm just simply saying right now, I'm not going to do this because what has caused this thing with these tariffs, these things fighting in these other countries. I like to go to sometime these other countries. I like to travel, but I'm afraid to go these other countries now because your commander-in-chief have done so much fighting these people, Mexico fighting these other people. I might not get back into this country. So don't I have a right to say that something is wrong with the person who's in charge in this country? Don't I have a right to say this? Because don't I have a right to say when I see my fellow person don't have health care and they talking to spend $2 billion a day in a war that you can't win, you're going to blow it up and then you're going to fix it up like happened in Vietnam. I'm just saying right now, people, get on. And I don't really respond to this guy. I'm not going to call his name no more. He called my name every day, which I think he dreams about calling Matlock. Matlock, don't answer this. I don't have to answer you. I don't know you. You don't know nothing about me. So I'm just simply saying right now, we need to be talking about how we going to get these prices down. You like to travel, I like to travel, and I'm not going to drive to Florida. It's too low. I'm not going to drive. Now, I was thinking about getting a motorhome one time, but you think I want to get a motorhome now?
I drove a motorhome one time. Every 2 hours, I was putting $400 of gas in that thing. It was crazy.
Yeah. What I'm saying right now, I think you're going to find those motorhomes, if things don't straighten out, they're going to close shop. You want to buy one, even though if you bought one, you wouldn't be able to pay the gas
so Ron,
bill
we do have to go, but here's the thing I would say is like, again, find me somebody, and I've been keeping close tabs on, Newsom and Pritzker and all these guys. Find me somebody who's got a solution to this problem. That's not just like, hey, find me somebody, the Democratic Party specifically.
Well, he doesn't have. Well, we need to find another president, okay?
Okay, well, in the meantime, he is the president, but if you're going to replace him, find me somebody that has a plan. I mean, as an independent, you know what I say every week on these airwaves, $39 trillion in debt.
I think you got some decent Republicans out there. I'm not going to say that could replace him, but right now, he's got 2 more years after this year, okay? So, only thing I can say what's going to be coming right now, midterms, I think that they're going to lose both houses.
I think you're right. I think you're right because gas is going to be $5 and $6 a gallon, and they're going to lose it. I mean, I think so. Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
And you can't.
I don't think that. Here's the thing. I know we got to go, but the idea that I don't think that Trump has the loyalty to the party to really care. To him, when he's done, it's done.
You're right.
And so that's my point, is that he will burn it down, but they do not have the courage to fight back, whether it's fighting back Trump or fighting back other policies from the Democrats. The Republicans are generally just sort of like spineless, let's be honest. And that's the problem, that they need to find more people. Both sides need to find people to step up. I mean, even look at here real quick, Matlock. Here, listen. Have you been following Fetterman at all? The entire left media sphere, they hate him because
the guy that wear a hood.
But I'm saying, like, everybody loved him, and then he got elected, and he started saying, hey, look, I'm going to vote my conscience on these things. I'm going to vote for what I feel is best, and not always what the party feels is best. And now everybody's talking about recalling him, and everybody on the left wants to, recall him and impeach him and stuff because he doesn't agree with them. He's voting his conscience. That's how fickle the two parties are. Is if you don't vote lockstep with us, we want to impeach you. Go ahead.
Well, see what's happening right now. I happen to believe right now. I often say to people in my community, "Don't worry, help is on the way. And right now, after next year, we might have both houses. And the Democrats may have both houses. And I'm not suggesting that they ought to. It ought to be a check balance. Let the Democrats have things. But let's think about America first, okay? Let's think about America first.
And that's all I ask right for now. Either party is find me somebody who wants to deal with the debt. Find me somebody who wants to address these issues.
And I think who I think will be in 2 years who will be the Republican Party nominee. I believe Marco Rubio. I believe he will take over because Vance. They're not going to trust Vance because Vance has been silent. I believe Vance. He don't like what Trump is saying, but he's not going to say anything against it.
Right. Well, you're going to have you're going to have a vacuum, in a couple of years because he'll be gone, and you'll have this vacuum, and you'll have, and that's the whole thing. You're going to have a lot of infighting in both parties.
Look at this. Look at this guy that they're trying to beat up from Tellerico. They're trying to beat him up already because he looked to be a threat to Cronin in Texas. He's looking to be a threat to those people. So, again, he's saying something that resonates with the American public, and that's what it is. But they're trying to beat him up. I say, look at it, trying to beat that guy up. He's a superstar. Okay, with that, have a great day.
We got to go. Thank you, Bob. Tell everybody what you got going on here.
So coming up next, we have the Region Republican Show. That's the show paid for by the Lake County Republican Party. And we have congressional candidate Ben Ruiz in, and we'll be asking him to tell us a little bit about himself and about his campaign.
Okay, thank you so much. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to have some lemon pound cake. Maybe next time. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching.